1999. And since then, we've worked hard to improve the safety of all Angelenos.
And just as the measure got approval, reports started coming in of yet another LA gun crime that took 2 lives.
I just received a report, unconfirmed report, that there is or has been a shooting incident at UCLA. 2 people are reported down.
The victims now part of the statistics, which show 30,000 Americans die from gun violence each year. The new measure will provide a first step at tackling LA's gun problem. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Groups like the Brady Campaign and Mothers Against Gun Violence also helped craft the new legislation. While military men and women who paid the ultimate price for freedom were honored in both traditional and non-traditional ways. Gil Reyes reports from Memorial Day observances in West LA.
Marine Private First Class Morgan Weibel takes part in one of the lesser-known family traditions on Memorial Day.
Last year when I was here, I saw other Marines laying pennies down on the graves of these servicemen and women. You lay a penny down to show that you've paid your respects, and the increasing amount of the value of the coin symbolizes how close you were to that person.
A penny tells relatives of the deceased that you visited. A nickel indicates you trained at boot camp with him or her. If you served in combat together, you leave a dime. A quarter if you were there when he or she died. Other more familiar tributes took place at Los Angeles National Cemetery in West LA on Memorial Day. Several of the last remaining Tuskegee Airmen and New Buffalo soldiers were honored. This marked the cemetery's 127th Memorial Day observance.
Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president, said, "The nation that forgets its defenders will soon itself be forgotten." Let's remember that. God bless you all.
Being a Marine, I'm carrying on the legacy that these men have fought so bravely for, and I'm humbled to be in their presence. It's my duty.
At Los Angeles National Cemetery, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
More than 88,000 veterans and their loved ones are interned at Los Angeles National Cemetery. While another memorial services were held throughout the city, veterans and fallen heroes were honored at a special ceremony at the El Sereno Veterans Monument. Rasha Goel has more.
Flags, medals, and pictures served as memorabilia to honor veterans and their families at the El Sereno Veterans Monument on Memorial Day.
Heavenly Father, we thank you that we are able to gather here in a country of freedom, a country that honors the brave men and women that have gone before us and have given their lives so that we could enjoy every single day of our freedom.
Purple Heart recipient Daniel Arguello, who served in the 25th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army, also expressed his gratitude for being honored. His wife wore his pin, which is awarded to those wounded as a result of engaging the enemy while serving in the U.S. military.
Make your life as good because you deserve good life. You honor me by allowing me to speak to you, and God bless you all.
U.S. Army veteran and director of the El Sereno Senior Center, Samu Noah, also shared a few words.
I am grateful for this country because they have 2 holidays for our military people. The one for the living and the one that have moved on to a better place.
Here in El Sereno, it's a very patriotic community, and many men and women have served in the armed forces from this community. And so each year we honor our veterans and those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice by having these ceremonies.
The El Sereno Veterans Monument is located in the heart of the El Sereno community on Van Horn Avenue and Huntington Drive. The monument had its opening last February. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
LA City College also paid tribute to the men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice with its own red, white, and blue celebration. Anna Marcos takes us there.
They're not DOD, they don't count.
And it was off to the races for these veterans at LA City College. Wheelbarrow races, tire races, centipede push-ups. It was all part of the fun at LACC on Memorial Day. The campus on Vermont Avenue has the largest number of military vets of any city college in the system.
Our numbers show that our veterans at LACC are successful, right?
But it wasn't all fun and games, as some remembered our war heroes on this day. Some are no longer with us. Some have come back to find themselves jobless and homeless. Mayor Eric Garcetti has launched the 10,000-strong campaign to connect vets to jobs and has so far connected 7,600. He has also moved to house all homeless veterans and in less than 2 years has put 6,000 in housing.
They fought to give us the right to vote, so we need to vote. They fought for the right for us to be able to have free speech, so we have to respect all people's free speech. They fought for us to be able to practice our religion and love whomever we want. They fought for us to have the American way of life.
LACC even has a memorial wall where you can remember your own fallen war hero with one of these flag cards.
And we're going to be there for as long as it takes to make sure that every veteran on this campus has everything that they need to ensure their success.
3 war veteran students received awards of recognition, including Irineo Orejel, who studies in psychology and Chicano studies, have given him a philosophical frame of mind.
You know, one bean and a lima bean, a pinto bean, they're all beans. So we're all beans, and we just have to...
No matter what color.
No matter what color. Some are green, some are black, some are white. Some have little dots and everything else. Oh, some are pinto, and oh boy, they're all different beans. But we're all beans, and we all struggle. We're all in the same pot.
And now college and city leaders want to make sure our returning vets are part of that pot. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The event also featured booths and tables offering vets counseling, housing, and other services. Well, Mother Nature is getting a little help in South LA as city leaders and the community mark the opening of the Broadway Neighborhood Stormwater Greenway project. Anna Marcos has more on how it impacts LA's water. Anna.
Yana, this may look like an average parking lot near the Paradise Baptist Church in South LA, but it's actually a brand new water recapturing project that will take 417,000 gallons of stormwater runoff and put them back into LA's groundwater.
A huge welcome party for the Broadway Neighborhood Stormwater Greenway project, which will both beautify the neighborhood and make it cleaner and greener.
Projects like this are great because we need to continuously implement ways to conserve water and to keep our environment clean.
In the last year, crews dug up the parking lot to put in a giant filtration tank underneath to capture the water. They also built bioswales that will recapture even more water, as well as other improvements.
The other thing is we installed what we call 8 dry wells. What that means is we went 50 feet down in the ground, and so when the water is flowing on the street, it comes in here, it goes 50 feet down, another place where we can capture groundwater.
Working with 19 local residents, we've been able to help them redo their landscaping so that it becomes more drought tolerant, uses less water, but also includes beautiful native plants that are attracting bees and butterflies.
First of all, based on the drought we've had for the past few years, and so it's a win-win situation.
It's a tool belt approach to the drought. You know, we've got to do our part to conserve water, but we also got to look where there's opportunities to replenish the water table.
The council office picked up on it, provided the leadership. Others came in to water the seed. It germinated. It's grown. It will start yielding fruit.
This project will provide enough water for 80 LA homes. And just think about it, there's about 1 million homes in LA. If we do enough of these projects, we will lessen our need for imported water. Yana?
Anna, thanks. City leaders have also installed new trash cans in the area and are building more green alleys with new lighting and stormwater filtration systems. Well, more than ever, LA's the place to be. Jobs and prosperity are returning to the city, but there's still work to be done. Rich Samuels has more.
For some young people like Artie Cassis, their film industry dreams are already beginning to come true.
You're at the Jim Henson Company now?
I'm at the Jim Henson
So what are you
Company
doing?
now.
Tell people what you're doing there.
I'm a set PA at the Jim Henson Company.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, it's freaking awesome there.
Artie may be on his way to a career in the entertainment industry, but he's one of the lucky ones. For many young people in L.A., landing an entry-level job in L.A.'s signature industry can be tough. Mayor Eric Garcetti wants to change that.
We cannot average out our prosperity. We can't just take the unemployment rate and say, we're doing great.
The mayor brought together entertainment industry leaders at Getty House recently to push one of his top priorities, getting jobs for the city's youth. With the help of job fairs like this one, 12,000 jobs were created for youth last year, but only a handful came from the entertainment industry.
What we could easily be faced with is a generation of young folks coming in to a business that they might not succeed in.
Mayor Garcetti pointed out that developing more creative career pathways won't just create more jobs for youth, it will build a better and stronger entertainment industry.
But our ability to continue shaping and inspiring imaginations depends on us making sure that the stories that are told and those who are telling the stories look like this city does today.
Industry leaders welcomed the mayor's efforts.
It bridges the gap between the aspiration and the execution of those type of plans.
From the Getty House, the mayor's residence, this is Rich Samuels for LA This Week.
The jobs discussion was part of Engage LA, an ongoing series exploring challenges facing LA and fostering public-private partnerships to address them. While the LA Conservation Corps celebrated 30 years of providing jobs and second chances to disconnected youth, Gil Reyes reports on the group's daily duties from downtown.
The young people at the LA Conservation Corps plant trees, clean streets, and remove graffiti. They're also oftentimes former troubled youth. Like Lucy Gutierrez, she says the Corps changed her life.
Once I earned my GED at the Corps, I was hired as junior staff. After 10 years, I had worked my way up and earned a bachelor's degree in human services.
Gutierrez thanks a teacher at the Corps named Larry who pushed her to succeed. It's one of several stories of redemption heard at the LA Conservation Corps' 30th anniversary luncheon in downtown.
Hard work and discipline, showing up on time, being in your uniform, taking on the task, getting your education is what this is all about.
Founder and former Commerce Secretary Mickey Cantor receives the Corps' Lifetime Achievement Award. So does former Attorney General and former Conservation Corps President John Van de Kamp. Mayor Eric Garcetti says he will prioritize Corps members and other former troubled youth to help fill 5,000 civil service jobs, a second chance at responsibility through environmental careers.
This becomes not a city that's overwhelming, where we talk about dropping out of school or committing a crime or being unemployed. It suddenly is something that I'm responsible for, that I have a place in.
Gutierrez now works as a Corps case manager, helping today's young people succeed.
I see myself in every single one of them, which is why I work so hard to try to just make it a little bit easier for them. They deserve to have someone believe in them like Larry believed in me.
At the Conservation Corps' 30th anniversary gala at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Young people ages 14 to 24 can apply to the LA Conservation Corps. Find out more at lacorps.org. Well, city officials need your help in tracking down a suspect who allegedly killed a small dog. Mayor Eric Garcetti launches a competition to address some of the city's challenges, and a major recreation spot is now open for the season. All these stories in City Beat. LA City Councilman Paul Koretz joined representatives from animal rights groups to announce a $22,500 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of a man who allegedly killed a Yorkshire Terrier in Boyle Heights last month. Witnesses say the suspect punched the dog several times and threw it on the sidewalk. The suspect is described as white, about 6'2" and 280 pounds, with balding gray hair, between 50 and 60 years old. Witnesses also got this picture of the man's van, a late model silver Dodge Caravan with an off-color bumper.
To me, a person that could and would do something this barbaric has
has an anger management and cruelty problem that makes them a potential danger not just to animals but to humans as well.
If you have any information, call the LAPD at 213-486-0450. Mayor Eric Garcetti is challenging residents to help him find creative solutions to LA's most pressing challenges. Garcetti announced his inaugural Mayor's Cup competition, which will solicit proposals from student entrepreneurs and local academics to address issues ranging from beautifying vacant and blighted spaces to building affordable housing. College students, faculty members, and staff from Los Angeles colleges and universities are encouraged to enter the competition. Finalists will pitch their ideas to a panel of business and government leaders, including Garcetti. The grand prize winner will receive $25,000 and the opportunity to work with City Hall for 8 weeks to bring their idea to life.
So whether you have that great plan to help us build more affordable housing or a brilliant strategy to increase employment opportunities for low-income Angelenos, we want to put your ideas to work.
Los Angeles City Council member Mitch O'Farrell kicked off the start of the Los Angeles River Recreation Zone and launched the first group of kayakers onto the historic waterway. The United States Army Corps of Engineers is permitting 2 recreation zones, one in the Glendale Narrows section of the Elysian Valley and the other in the Sepulveda Basin. O'Farrell collaborated with the Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation to support this year's recreation zone and will contribute $50,000 to fund the program this season while creating a permanent budget for future seasons. Well, Mayor Eric Garcetti spoke to college students about targets met so far in his sustainability plan. Gil Reyes has more from UCLA. Gil.
Yes, Yana, here at the Deneuve Auditorium in the UCLA campus, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti touched on a number of topics, including the environment, his sustainability goals, and also what he fears about the future.
You want to see results also in the short term as well as the medium and long term.
1 year into Mayor Eric Garcetti's sustainability plan, and one of the main goals is already on the verge of being met. The plan was a 20% reduction in LA City water use by next year. We are now 1% shy of that goal. But the waters off the coast are on his mind, too.
I don't know what's going to happen to life in the oceans, for instance. I mean, will our children be able to see fish in the ocean, beyond a few species?
The mayor speaking about his plan at the Sustainable Cities Conference at UCLA. Targets met so far include reducing the city's greenhouse gas emissions. They are down 20% from 1990 levels, and surpassing a goal of more than 1,000 electric vehicle charging stations. But other work is needed, like replacement of aging water pipes, like the one that burst here at UCLA 2 years ago, flooding parts of the campus and damaging vehicles. One of the works in progress in the mayor's sustainability plan. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
For more than 20 years, local kids have scoured our beaches, picking up trash, and this year was no different, as the 23rd annual Kids Ocean Day kicked off with a massive beach cleanup at Dockweiler State Beach. And Marcos has more.
Children at this Kids Ocean Day beach cleanup in Playa del Rey have laid down a little rap on the environment with this spoken word performance.
And a big, giant fish with large teeth and the skin of gray. But here comes the trash, which makes the food chain crash. There are lives at stake. This is just too much to take.
We came here to pick up the trash and help the environment.
Yeah, like she said, we're here to pick up all the trash so it won't go in the ocean and it won't hurt the sea animals.
Look at this. Here in LA, about 4,000 kids from schools all over the city are taking part in cleaning up the beach. In the state of California, about 8,000 kids will take part in the same event.
We're picking up stuff like tar, bottle lids, and caps because a lot of people leave them here and then a lot of animals get harmed. When seagulls pick up something, they get choked.
Kids Ocean Day was created to empower kids to be the change that helps the planet.
The ocean is sick and dying. It's not a laughing matter. The overfishing is destroying the coral reefs. The plastic and litter from the streets is in the ocean and choking us. Fish are eating the plastic in the ocean. We are eating the fish.
If we don't help now, then the beach won't be here later. We're here to clean up trash so the animals don't get sick.
Children are our future, and they actually change the behaviors of parents.
And just like that, with a little digging and trash picking, these youngsters have just become environmental activists, out to help make Mother Earth a little healthier and a little cleaner. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
After the event, the kids took part in a giant aerial art performance where they shaped their bodies to form giant bubbles, fish, and dolphins. Well, it was a Cinderella story come true for one special young lady from South LA as she embarked on an evening fit for a princess. 17-year-old Jefferson High School student Tykeese Jamerson is getting the royal treatment. A team of makeup and hair professionals is helping her get ready for her big night at prom.
It makes me feel special.
Living in the underserved community of South LA, Tykeese has faced her share of challenges, including moving from place to place. The First Lady of Council District 9, Del Richardson Price, the wife of LA Council member Curran Price, wanted to treat a deserving student to a night of glamour, and Tykeese was chosen.
It makes me highly grateful for it because the community where I'm from, there's not a lot of people who can afford to do this kind of stuff. And so to have someone bless me with it, it's very great.
Del Richardson Price gathered a glam squad that included celebrity fashion designer Angela Dean and celebrity makeup and hairstylist Anthony Walker, known as Sir Tony, to turn Tykeese's Cinderella fairy tale into a prom reality. Her dress was specially designed for the occasion.
I went and made a selection of this beautiful lace and this fancy bottom of jersey that coordinates with this whole thing. And we gave her a little dance at the bottom, so when she's dancing, she'll have a great time. And then the back was our special feature because this is all, sheer in the back and goes to her waist. She's very tiny and beautiful. But we are just so excited about how it came out and how she will look.
This is my opportunity to make sure that she feels just as wonderful and beautiful as some of these celebrity clients that I've worked with. I think everyone should experience this. And because she's a grade A student, this makes it even better.
Despite some of the obstacles she's faced this year, Tykeese plans to attend college and study psychology. The young lady is the co-founder of Sisters Pride at Jefferson High School, a club dedicated to building the self-esteem of young women on campus. As for the end result of her transformation, the beauty in blue was no doubt the belle of the ball. City Council member Curran Price continues to launch initiatives to help transform and improve the quality of life for all residents in the new Ninth. Well, take the whole family out for a bike ride along the LA River, celebrate the art of dance with a dance-along, and getting spooked is only half the fun. All this in this week's Things to Do. On Sunday, you're going to want to dig that bike out of the garage and take a scenic ride along the Los Angeles River. Benefiting the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, the Los Angeles River Ride is a sporty event where riders can choose to bike distances ranging from 15 miles to 100 miles. And there's also a route for kids. The LA River Ride takes place Sunday, June 12th at the Autry National Center, located at 4700 Western Heritage Way in Griffith Park. For more information, go to la-bike.org. Titled The Past, Present, and Future of Hip Hop, the Dance Camera West Dance Media Festival is hosting many events throughout the week, one being at the Museum of Contemporary Art in downtown Los Angeles. The festival includes showcases, film screenings, and dance-alongs. Dance Camera West is celebrating the art form of dance and invites you to come experience its annual festival on Saturday, June 11th at 1 p.m. For more, visit dancecamerawest.org. If you're looking to get spooked this weekend, you may or may not, depending on your liking for all things horror. Want to attend the Great Horror Campout at Elysian Park. This unique event is an interactive one that features a 12-hour campout including movies, games, ghost stories, and some creepy arts and crafts. Attendees can choose how much horror they would like to experience, and the Great Horror Campout likes to note that no one will actually be in danger, thank goodness. It all takes place on Saturday, June 11th at Elysian Park, located at 835 Academy Road. The movie starts at 7 p.m. For more, visit greathorrorcampout.org. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
It all started that one day. I knew then my destiny. To have a career where I can achieve my best, where every day is different, where lifelong friendships are made, where I'm saving lives and inspiring others. My name is Mackenzie Vandergeest, and I am a Los Angeles firefighter.
Excellent. Cut, print, we're moving on. Hi, I'm Shane Woodson on the set of Cain and Abel here in Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Okay, I need my actors back on set, back in position.
Good morning. If you would please take your seats. Good morning. Today is Friday, June 10th. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to City Hall, to your City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. Mr. Clerk, at this time, we do not have a quorum, but we can begin our presentation program portion of today's program if Mr. Englander is ready. So with that said, Mr. Englander, the floor belongs to you, sir.
Look at that trophy. How are you? How you doing, guys? Here, you guys, come on up. Come on up. Mr. President, colleagues, we did something extraordinary. You know, you put on some events as elected officials and council members, as community leaders, that you want to try to engage young folks, never knowing full well exactly what's going to happen when you throw out something different and unique. And we started years ago with outdoor films. I think many are doing those now, including you, Mr. President, and they've just taken on, and people love them. So we wanted to think big, go big, try something different. And in looking at some of the issues that we face in our local schools and our communities, we know that arts funding has been cut dramatically. And in fact, if you start looking at the numbers, the arts are now viewed as a commodity. And the National Endowment for the Arts, in fact, has a budget of about $150 million, which sounds like a lot. But then you look at the National Science Foundation's annual budget, it's $7 billion. Give you an idea of what's going on. And so looking at the need to promote not just STEM, but STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, we came up with something different and unique. So we created an organization, we created a program called Making Movies That Matter in the San Fernando Valley. And with that, we had over 1,000 young filmmakers from elementary, middle school, high school, and college campuses all participate. They included over 25 sponsored schools, and students each received mentoring from award-winning arts and residents, part of the Cal Arts Community Arts Program, state-of-the-art smartphone technology bundles from Apple. Apple gave all the kids smartphones with smart kits, tripods, lenses. Apple. Now, Apple does a lot, but they don't do a lot in communities, and they were sort of risky about, well, we're really going to do something in a local community. We typically, do big things. So you want all these hundreds of phones and free software, all the training at the Genius bars, working with all the schools. And they said, yeah, we'll step up and try this out. They were blown away. It's gone national. And they want to promote this every year. The project was fully funded by our office, and we had 130 videos submitted by these kids. This was the largest youth film festival ever to take place. With arts education, this was critical. So we hosted this at the Valley Performing Arts Center on May 19th. It turned out it was standing room only, with nearly 1,700 people showed up. In fact, all the kids, this was not planned, 1,700 kids. If you can imagine this, every one of them showed up dressed to the nines. They were wearing suits and ties and dresses. They went out shopping. They got dressed up for the red carpet. It was incredible. The awards were presented to the winners of each grade level for their designated category, and themes of social action and civic engagement was the key. We had 4 designated categories: animation, public service announcements, live action, and documentaries. The top 3 overall winning schools received $1,000 scholarships each. And of the 3, an overall Best of Festival Awards was selected and they received the grand prize. The top grade levels won Final Cut Pro advanced editing software from Apple as well. So behind me is the next Steven Spielberg. Behind me, and all of these 1,000 kids that got engaged discovered a craft they otherwise wouldn't have known. They found a creativity both in front and behind the camera they wouldn't have discovered. They learned how to write, direct, edit, theme, come up with presentation, and work collaboratively. We had all the students and the teachers engaged. It was incredible. We thought maybe we'd have 10, 15 kids sign up. 1,000 signed up. 1,700 showed up. How amazing was it? Did you guys have a great time?
Yes.
So with that, Northridge Middle School was our overall winner with their amazing video, Becoming Leaders. And we're going to show you that video now. Go ahead and roll the tape.
What is leadership class all about?
Leadership class is all about working as a team and never giving up. Learning how to be respectful of others.
I look forward to coming to school.
Leadership class has impacted my life to help others respect and be friends.
I met new people with different personalities.
Leadership class has impacted my life because it's taught me how to be a leader.
Learning how to communicate with sign language.
It's made my life better because I come to school happy.
It has shown me how to be a respectful and confident person.
What's one word you would use to describe this class?
Happy.
Amazing.
Creative.
Excited. Inspiring.
Excellent.
Happy?
Awesome.
Amazing.
Happiness.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Magical.
I see trees of green as they are blue. I see them blue. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue.
Leadership class has definitely changed my life because I used to be negative, and this class has brought happiness and hope.
We had an incredible experience with putting this event together. And in fact, everybody in the room laughed. They cried. Some of the films, and as one you just watched, our overall best and amazing video recipient, and now you see why. But I want to real quickly tell you about another one of the videos. We're not going to put them all up, be here all day, and they're all on YouTube. We had another school that made a video, and it had two boys walking to school. Let me just draw you the picture. And there was a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk with his tent. Remember this one?
Yeah.
And the boys were laughing with their backpacks, and they tripped over his feet. And their books fell out of the backpack, and they picked them up, and they yelled at him, "You're blocking the sidewalk. Get out of my way." And they kept laughing and picked up their books and went off to school. What they didn't see is one of the books, their history book, fell out and fell next to him. And they just kept walking and left it there because they didn't see it. They went to class. One of the boys who lost his book was scrambling to find it in class and watching the homework assignments being handed out. And went home the next day, tripped over him again, yelled and laughed at him and made fun of that homeless man again. And then he went to school. When he tripped the second time on the way home and his books fell out again, the homeless man took the history book that he'd had for 24 hours and put it back into his backpack. He got back to school the next day knowing he didn't do his history homework because he didn't have his book. And he's rattling through his backpack and he finds his history book and he opens it up and it's all complete. The history work is all filled out. And he thought, wow, okay, and he turned it in. The teacher called him after class and said, you got an A. In fact, not only did you get an A, you nailed it. It was phenomenal. And they said, we're going to show you a little brief video and history of our veterans, and that's what the assignment was about. And who comes on the screen in uniform was the homeless man as a picture of a vet. And they recognized him. So on the way home from school that day, they started walking. The homeless man with his feet out on the sidewalk again saw them coming and quickly drew his feet back this time. Got scared that they would yell at him and make fun of him again. And he sat down with them. And the boy sat down with them and said, hi, here's my name. What's your name? You've served our country. Thank you so much. And that was one of the films. And there were 1,000 kids that made these films. And it was so touching and moving. What you guys have done is so inspirational. And anyway, I want to thank Cal Arts Community Arts Program, Film LA, the Valley Relics Museum, our local district from LAUSD, the Department of Cultural Affairs, Apple Northridge, Spec Products, the Jack Oakey, Victoria Hone, Oakey Charitable Foundation, Topanga Film Institute and Innovation Labs, California State University, Northridge, and the Institute of Community Health and Well-Being, because that's what it took to put this on as a partnership. Most importantly, I'd like to thank the students, teachers, artists and residents, the families, and our partners, but these amazing kids that have done a phenomenal job and hopefully opened up a new opportunity for them and a career and a passion that they otherwise would never have found. Our administrators that really partnered with us on this, Nadine, Suzanne, Adrienne, Ed, Kathy, and Brian, our leadership teachers, Judy Greenberg, our coordinator, and I'd like to bring Nadine up to Rambo to say a few words. Nadine? Or Ingrid. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we're going to bring the student up first. Okay, Ingrid.
Okay. Hi, I'd like to thank Councilman Mitchell Englander. This was an amazing experience. I'm glad I had this opportunity to make this film. It was really life-changing. You know, I'll never forget this experience, and I'm really happy that I had this opportunity. Thank you.
My name is Nadine Rambo. On behalf of the California Institute of the Arts and the Community Arts Partnership of CalArts, we are so grateful to have had this opportunity presented to us by Councilmember Mitchell Englander. The chance to link higher education and K-12 education in this city, specifically focusing on the arts and allowing our students to be able to express themselves and express what really matters to them, is a wonderful opportunity presented with a public-private partnership with many different partners who worked to make this happen. So we are so grateful to have had this happen, and we hope that it will happen again in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I want to thank you. I know this is a little bit of a long presentation.
It's a good one.
There's nothing that like this has ever been done here in Los Angeles. And we hope to continue it every year and invite you all back. And just give you a breath of the night for 1 second. When the kids showed up, we had free food for everybody. They all got T-shirts and free cell phone cases. We had green screens and celebrities. We had all kinds of celebrity artists. And it was really special and incredible. And I've never been able to participate in anything like that, yet alone host it. With that, my staff worked tirelessly for about a year to put this together. And a special shout out to Ron Rubine, who really was the brainchild behind this through creativity. He just nailed it. He just did an incredible job from all the awards, and just love you, man. Thank you all very much. This is definitely what makes this worthwhile.
No, thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to go in the back and take some photos. Okay. So, yeah.
So I have a second.
Okay. And we'll present this back then.
Mr. O'Farrell, as Mr. Rue makes his way to the back. Mr. O'Farrell for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. The focus today being on youth and accomplishment, I'd like to welcome the 5th grade class from St. Hilary Parish School from our neighbors to the east and south from Pico Rivera. Please stand. There they are. We have teacher Mrs. Ronquillo. And just a note here is that Delilah Puche from our own CAO's office is the mother of one of the students visiting today. A little bit about the school is that St. Hilary's strives to provide a safe, clean atmosphere which allows for the education of the whole student, thus encompassing spiritual, academic, social, moral, physical, psychological, aesthetic, and cultural development. Students are learning about how city government works in conjunction with surrounding municipalities. I hope you're enjoying your lesson today, and welcome to the city of Los Angeles.
Wave, kids, wave. You're on television. Let's show them again. Wave so your parents can see you. Smile. And welcome to City Hall.
Thank you.
With that said, Mr. Rue, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, good morning, Council President, colleagues. Wrestling is one of the oldest competitive sports in human history, tracing back to the era of ancient Greece. Over time, it has grown to one of the most diverse sports in the world, crossing borders and boundaries, with nearly 200 nations participating worldwide in the United World Wrestling. Furthermore, wrestling is the original Olympic sport. Wrestling embodies the Olympic spirit. It is an inclusive sport that provides opportunities to athletes worldwide, regardless of race, gender, or physical characteristics. California is the leading state in athletic memberships for the USA Wrestling and the state with the largest participation in high school wrestling. This coming week, June 11th and 12th, Federation leaders from the United States, Russia, Turkey, Iran, Azerbaijan, Georgia, India, and Mongolia will come together, and the United World Wrestling and wrestlers throughout the city of Los Angeles will come to our city to compete. I am proud to declare today, June 10th, 2016, as World Wrestling Day in Los Angeles, to recognize and commend the United World of Wrestling, the international governing bodies for wrestling, and the 2016 Men's Freestyle Wrestling Cup. With that, I'd like to introduce Nenad Lalovic, President of the United World Wrestling.
Come on, let's welcome him. Welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Ryu. Dear Mr. President, dear members of the City Council of Los Angeles, it is a great day for us today. Thank you for helping and hosting the third in a row World Cup in freestyle. We have in this hall my friends and colleagues from the United World Wrestling, but we have young wrestlers, and everything we do for them. As Councilman Ryu said, we are the eldest sport in the world. We are sometimes arguing who is older, Olympics or wrestling. But in fact, we are twins. We are born together. And it started in 708 BC. And we are still here. Today is a big day, but it's just 1 second in our history, and a great second. We gather under our roof 180 countries. We are one of the most spreaded sports on earth. Beside the Olympic wrestling, we have all national and traditional wrestlings from all nations, all tribes, from Kamchatka and Japan to Argentina. And they all work under our roof today. We have other disciplines like beach wrestling, grappling, pancration, and that being said, a big social responsibility remains on our back. But we do our best to manage that sport who doesn't make differences between nations, religions, races. We have today more than 100 international competitions per year under our authority, in different age groups, of course. I would like to thank you once again, dear Mr. President, for initiating this historical day for our sport in Los Angeles. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you. You're a class act.
Thank you, President Lalovic. Next, I'd like to bring up Andy Barth, Chairman of the 2016 World Cup Organizing Committee. Mr. Barth.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Ryu. It's been my pleasure to lead the hosting efforts for the last 3 years for the World Cup. You should be very proud of your city, Los Angeles. Los Angeles has been a perfect model of internationalism and of hospitality. You've heard the overall numbers. In the last 3 years, the World Cup in Los Angeles has hosted 13 different countries, and those teams have represented over 2.1 billion people. And yet, each one of those teams that has come to Los Angeles has found a little bit of their country here. They have found a fan base, they have found good diplomacy, good hospitality, and as you all know, they have found their own home cooking here in Los Angeles. I want to thank you very much. It's been an honor for me to serve in leading these efforts. And I'd like now to introduce Mr. James Ravanack, who is the president of USA Wrestling.
Thank you, Andy Barth. One point Andy didn't bring up, Andy will be leading Team USA freestyle team going into the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro, and it's a very important job for us in order to lead that and to be able to, win the medals that we need to win. So thank you, Andy. On behalf of USA Wrestling, I would like to thank President West and the entire City Council of Los Angeles for allowing to have us this day and the proclamation provided by Councilman Ryu naming June 10th Wrestling Day. Seated behind me are the nations that I have the pleasure of leading, the 8 nations that are going to be competing this weekend for the honors of the World Cup champion. It is one of our biggest events going into the Olympic Games, so we know how important it is. But the most important thing is wrestling is a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood of sport, it's a brotherhood of competition, not politics. And we've certainly endured in the last couple of years, a political realm that united all of the world with our wrestling. One of our biggest feats is, like Councilman Ryu said, that California is one of our biggest states, and it is. For our children coming up into leading us into the Olympic Games. Seated to the left and one row behind is Executive Director of Beat the Streets LA, Yaru Washington, and this is the future of us and USA Wrestling.
Give him a round of applause. Thank you.
This, one day, these young men and women will be our Olympians. And I want to thank the City Council again. It's a very special day. Thank you.
No, we're lucky to have you.
Thank you. Our future gold medalist right here in the front row. And last but not least, Mandy, who needs no introduction, but Mr. President, apparently he does, because I can't believe I didn't realize I became so old, because some of my interns didn't know who he was. But you have to know this man, actor Mr. Billy Baldwin.
Yeah, I knew who he was.
Thank you.
I knew who he was, Mr. Ryu. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, thank you so much for allowing me to speak for a moment here. Wrestling, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, has been able to do something that no sitting president has done since the start of the Cold War. We brought the Ukraine, Iran, Russia, China, and the United States to under the same roof to do battle, but to do battle harmoniously. I'm very proud of that fact. That's something that the entire wrestling community is proud of. They say the test of a true champion is how you respond in adversity, how you respond in defeat. And a couple of years ago, wrestling was removed from the core of the Olympic Games And we battled mightily, and it took, about 8 months for us to be reinstated into the Olympic Games. And a true test of a champion, a true test of an elite athlete is how you respond when you get knocked down, how you respond in adverse circumstances. And I have to say that the global wrestling community responded very, very well, but the Los Angeles community had something very specific and very important to have to do with that. The work of Beat the Streets, the work of Andy Barth, the work of having the World Cup here, knowing that we're bidding for the Olympics in 2024. That was what they call in my business an audition. And the audition could not have gone better. What we did, what we put on display for the international community, sporting community, by having the World Cup here the last 3 years and putting on such a great show, I have to tell you, it's a spectacular event to be to. I've been there. Of course, we know about our huge Persian community in Orange County and in Beverly Hills, and they turned that event the last couple of years into Little Tehran. You should hear them going crazy rooting for their favorite team. But the work that's going on with Titan Mercury Wrestling and Beat the Streets and the World Cup being here in Los Angeles is the tip of the spear, and we're leading the way, and we're setting the example for, and I don't want us to become complacent because we're only halfway there. We have a long way to go, but we've responded very, very well, and I look very much forward to seeing what we could do here in Los Angeles to bring the games here as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. In wrestling, everybody grows up wrestling. Boys, little girls. I mean, that's one of the first things that you do. And I can't imagine the Olympics without wrestling. It's one of the most fundamental sports. And again, so this weekend, it is actually tomorrow, June 11th and 12th, is where the United World Wrestling will come to compete. So if you're interested, please let my office know. And I really want to thank all of you for your commitment in advancing this proud and storied sport and sharing it with the city of Los Angeles. With that said, on behalf of the mayor and the Los Angeles City Council, I'd like to present this proclamation declaring today, June 10th, World Wrestling Day in Los Angeles. Thanks.
Give them a round of applause. Another one.
Dear City Council, on behalf of the United World Wrestling, it's my pleasure to accept your Wrestling Day proclamation. And since I am not restrained as an IOC member, I would be remiss if I didn't say I wish Los Angeles luck in the 2024
Thank
bid.
you. Thank you. And Mr. Rue, Mr. Harris Dawson, that's a good wrestling match. I think we'll do a prelim. Let's give them one more round of applause. Thank you all. And for all of your hard work to have wrestling reinstated in the Olympics. You know what, Mr. Clerk? We do have a quorum. Why don't we quickly go through the agenda before I recognize Mr. Cedillo?
Very good, sir. Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Sodillo, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Carrasco, Corin, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson, 13 members present, and quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Rue moves and Mr. Harris Dawson seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Biden moves and Mr. Corrett seconds. Next.
Mr. President, the Department of Building and Safety advises that it has rescinded the lien for item 1A and recommends that council receive and file the matter. Additionally, there has been a request to continue item 2 to Tuesday, June 14.
So without objection, that'll be the order.
Very good, sir. Item 1 is an item noticed for public hearing.
Do we have cards?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, let's continue.
Very good. Items 3 through 6 are items for which public hearings have been held. A committee report for item 4 has been circulated and is before council for consideration.
Okay, Mr. Buscaino.
Item 4 special, Mr. President.
Okay, we'll hold item 4. Why don't we prepare to vote on the remaining items? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, continue.
Items 7 through 9 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Let's open the roll.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. We do have cards on all items 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. So why don't we quickly, Mr. Cedillo, as you get ready. In fact, for the Mr. Cedillo, if we can get your honorees to come and stand by the council people, I'll ask Mr. Walsh. We're going to take up items 7 and 8. Mr. Walsh, you can come up, and then the honorees, please come. Ms. Park, Jeannie, come back. Come sit, by your council people.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, tweeting at Hollywood Dems, blogging and tweeting at Hollywood Dems. And this is number 7. This is resolutions, various properties, rent, escrow. Again, I want to always point out to people here, we praise you when you're worthy of praise, and you're worthy of praise for rent, the way you treat renters here. If there's something in your apartment, I tell people, and they tell me that it works, that if there's something in your apartment that's not up to code, tell the landlord. The landlord refuses to fix it. Then the city comes in and says to the landlord, "You don't pay." The renter doesn't pay to you anymore. The renter pays to us until you bring the apartment up to code or whatever the rental property is. And we see here 347 North Gardner. We see a number of places where the code hasn't been brought, nothing has been brought up to code. As far as number 8, vacating, okay, this is, anytime you see the word exemption, that means the rules are going to be broken. And we have some great rules, but you just exempt them. So you bring in people who are unqualified. You play ball with developers. You hand them over property. Remember, anytime you see the word exemption, that smells fishy. There should be no exemptions. And this is so that Exposition Boulevard, this has to do with the absolute fuck-up of Expo line.
Okay, Mr. Walsh, we're going to do item 8, too. Did we do 7 then?
No, I did 7
So we
and
did
8.
both. All right. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. Let's try it again. We're having a technical glitch.
13 ayes.
All right. Mr. Cedillo, the floor is yours.
Is there a video? I haven't seen the t-shirts.
Yeah, we have one for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a video. That's what they tell me.
We came by wind. We came by wind.
Okay, sir.
Struck.
Oh.
We came by wind, struck rock, and stuck. Together we came, across the ocean and towards the unknown. By horse and wheel, westward we came, chasing the sunset. We came by steam, across rivers, over mountains and valleys, towards the promise of a new beginning. We conquered the skies, built planes, buses, and cars. When we
we had nothing else, we came on foot, ran, and walked, and crawled. We made history in the wake of those who came before us, before the waves of all of those yet to come. We carried luggage, letters, and loved ones. Some of us carried nothing but our own potential. We came for love, for liberty, for life. Our reasons for coming were as unique and as numerous as the forces that brought us here. But once we arrived, all of us did the exact same thing. We helped build this country, and we were welcome.
Mr. President, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here today. I love that video. It's an incredible video, and it could not be more timely. We are here this morning to celebrate the third annual Immigrant Month. But what we're really celebrating is an American month, because this country is uniquely a country made up of immigrants, as is this state and as is this city. And so we're here to do that and to acknowledge and to create a great sense of welcome for all of us and for our families and for those who came before us. Each and every one of us has our own individual story of how we got here. We're on the shoulders of other risk takers, other entrepreneurs, other courageous men and women who came here for a better life, not so much for themselves, but for us, for their children, for their grandchildren, for their great-grandchildren. And so we're here to celebrate this month. We're here with the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, with CHIRLA, with Welcome.us, and we're here with many of the entrepreneurs. Each of you have designated an entrepreneur from your district. We think it's important to show the contributions that immigrants are making to our city, our state, and our nation. But it's also urgent. There is a great sense of urgency that we do this now, because we are at a time where immigrants are under perhaps one of the greatest attacks that they've ever been under. Seldom in our nation, and we have many examples where we've had blatant discrimination, racism, xenophobia, but seldom have we had it in the form of a person running for the presidency of this country and supported by so many millions of Americans who are under incredible distress that they are reaching out for this type of so-called solution to their personal ills. And so it's important that we are here today to affirm our commitment to the immigrant heritage of this city and this state and this nation. And it's important that we do this now with a program that calls for integration, that calls for recognition, that calls for unity and solidarity. It's important that we do this calling for people to exercise those democratic rights that we value, that people are being called upon to register to vote, and do so in a manner as if their life depends on it, because frankly, it does. And so we're here today to do that. Mr. President, I thank you for giving us the opportunity for that. Let me begin in the order that we're going to go through the horseshoe by acknowledging our honoree. Right? Carlos M. Lopez is a young entrepreneur in our district. His restaurant, Las Cazuelas, is right up the street from my office. It's a place that I would sneak away during my campaign to grab respite and some great food. Carlos, congratulations to you and to your family and for the contributions you're making to our city.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Let's give him a round of applause. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. This is very important, Mr. Cedillo, and I think we should show our appreciation and respect. Thank you for all the work that you do.
Let me tell you about Las Cazuelas. I have a little talking point here. In 1988, Inez Romero made the daring trek from her war-torn country of El Salvador to raise her 3 children in the United States. She sought a haven from the violence of her homeland and opportunities for her children. Family owned and founded in 1985 in Highland Park, Las Cazuelas restaurant has always been known for a relaxed dining experience with warm, gracious service where every guest is made to feel welcome and at home. I thought it was just me. Las Cazuelas is a fun, festive, casual neighborhood Salvadorian and Mexican restaurant in CD1. And today we have with us Carlos, owner and community member from Highland Park. It's a great place. I highly recommend it. Take your staff and your friends and family. They have some really good food there. Really, really good food. So, Carlos, congratulations. Our colleague, Mr. Krikorian, could not be with us today, but he's asked me to present his honoree for CD2 on his behalf. And for CD2, we have Salsa and Beer Restaurant. Boy, that gets right to the point. The CD2 honoree is Gabriel Huerta, a Mexican immigrant and owner of Salsa and Beer Restaurant. Mr. Huerta was born in Jerez, Zacatecas. Mr. Huizar. As a child, he helped his parents make burritos to sell in local shops. He immigrated to the U.S. at the age of 15 and graduating from Reseda High School. He then worked at a series of Mexican restaurants, often holding 2 jobs at a time. In 1998, he refinanced his house and opened his first restaurant. He now has 2 locations, one in Van Nuys and one in Hollywood, and employs over 100 people. That's amazing. He provides food for events and cleanups regularly, has sold much of his food and donated the rest. He does events in the NoHo East, NoHo West neighborhood councils, for the LAPD, North Hollywood, CPAB, and Sun Valley Magnet Score, among many of the places he donates his food. And he continues to work with the LAFD, LAPD during their annual Officer Appreciation Days. Senor Gabriel Huerta, where is he? Not here? Mr. Huerta is not with us. So now let's go around the horseshoe and CD3. Please present your honoree.
Great, thank you. So, first off, Mr. CEO, thank you so much for bringing this event to us again. This is really a special event where we get to honor those with immigrant heritage and celebrate that this entire month. So I'm pleased here today as part of Immigrant Heritage Month to recognize Matt Barani, who is the owner of Safir Mediterranean Cuisine. Now, Matt's not here with us. He sent Saeed Malik to accept his certificate, but Saeed works at Safir, is also an immigrant, and I want to make sure that we're recognizing Saeed as well. You know, both came from Iran, both Matt and Saeed. Matt immigrated back in 1987 and settled down in Woodland Hills. And Saeed just been here for just 3 years. Also living in Woodland Hills, working with Matt at the restaurant, creating an amazing place. Safir Mediterranean Cuisine, it started in Reseda. They moved to Woodland Hills in 2008. It's an incredibly welcoming environment, delicious food, and some of you will get to sample some of that because they brought some in the back. A lot of wonderful Mediterranean cuisine. And one of the things I love about the Safir restaurant and the whole group there, Matt and Saeed and the rest, is that they really have become a part of the community. Not only is the restaurant a delicious place to go, but it's a community gathering place where you can always see people, families getting together, people making deals. It's just a great place. And then they've gone that extra step, and they've partnered with me on numerous community events that we hold throughout the year, adding their special flavor, both culinary flavor and otherwise, to those events, and it's something that I really appreciate. In fact, Matt has become a part of the West Valley Warner Center Chamber, and it's immigrants like Matt and Saeed here who help shape the communities of this great city. So Saeed, would you please accept, on behalf of you and Matt and Safir Restaurant, this certificate of congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You know, Mr. Ryu, we're going to hear first from the president, if you don't mind.
Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, Mr. Cedillo, and I want to echo what you said earlier, that it's so important that we do this and that we do this now. We live in the greatest country on the planet because we are so diverse and we bring so much to this country. That's why there's so many people from so many other countries that wish that they were here with us. So today, it is my honor to present to you Jeannie Kim, who came here from Korea in 1972. She came single mother with the dream of opening a restaurant. So she honed her skills for almost 10 years. And in the beginning of 2000, I want to say 2002, she opened up her own restaurant, which is at 955 South Vermont Avenue. Again, 955 South Vermont Avenue is called Parks Barbecue, and her manager, who is Brian Park, but she's Miss Kim, have run a very successful restaurant. I have taken, Mr. Cedillo, members of the council staff, members of the city clerk and what have you. We've had holiday parties there, and there is some food from Mrs. Kim in the back as well, and it is excellent. It is one of the best Korean restaurants in the west of the Mississippi. Give Jeannie Kim Parks Barbecue a round of applause.
And you know, Mr. President, Mr. President, you don't have to go just to 995 South Vermont to enjoy her food.
955.
955.
South Vermont.
I've actually been there. You don't have to just go to 955 to enjoy her food, but actually she's opening up a new restaurant right down the street so everybody can go for lunch as you cross over at Broadway and Chavez. Is that Chavez or Sunset? Chavez. Right below the Gia apartments there. She's got a new, in the mixed-use center there, she's got a new restaurant right at the bottom of there. So you can go for lunch.
And that will be another Parks Barbecue.
Yes, it is.
Let's give her one more round of applause.
I think everybody can recognize this, but this is very exciting, Mr. President. An African-American president introducing a Korean entrepreneur from his district, and now we have the first Korean-American member of our council who's going to introduce a new entrepreneur from his district. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. And I also want to mention Jenny Park also has a third location in Sherman Oaks at the Westfield Mall called Oligo. And I also want to give a shout out to Dora of Yucas, who has their original
yes, they do.
In Hillhurst. But today, Mr. President, we are here for 14545 Ventura Boulevard. As we celebrate this month a group of people that shaped America with their stories, their love for this country, and their willingness to work as hard as possible in order to give their families better lives. Immigrants have always been a part of the fabric of Los Angeles, and these people are our fathers, our mothers, our friends, and our neighbors. We are all Los Angeles. Today, I am proud to present someone who has made an impact to our community as an immigrant, and that's Armin Kesablian, right? And joined by his fiancée, Anna. Armin was born in Yerevan, Armenia, after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1988. Border disputes caused millions to flee, and up to 30,000 Armenians were killed in the ensuing violence. Most who lost their lives were children. Armin's parents sold everything they had to collect enough money to fly to the United States. His parents didn't speak English, but they worked hard to make sure their 3 children had food and a roof over their head. Thanks to his parents' sacrifices, Armin has become a highly successful software engineer. But like his parents, he wanted a more purpose in life, and he followed his passion. And a passion that his fiancée at first couldn't understand, but brought him here to City Hall. He watched a YouTube video about some ice cream making all around the world in Thailand. And following his passion, he saw a dream, and he invested his entire life savings to buy these machines, and he founded the first Igloo Parlor, an ice cream shop in Sherman Oaks, again at 14545 Ventura Boulevard. I'm proud to highlight Igloo Parlor and welcome to the district. Thank you.
All right. Who's 5? Who's 5? Oh, correct. CD5, Mr. Kretz.
Honoring the immigrants of the city of Los Angeles, as the son of immigrants myself, means a lot to me, and I appreciate this. It's with great pleasure that as part of Immigrant Heritage Month, I'm privileged to honor Ruzbe Farahanapour, who is recognized not only as a very successful immigrant here in Los Angeles, and we do so not only because he's the owner of the very successful and wonderful restaurant Delphi Greek in Westwood, on 1383 Westwood Boulevard. Everybody should stop by and give it a try. But also for his leadership, his advocacy, his devotion to empowering others, and encouraging greater participation and civic engagement. It wasn't too long ago that this beloved member of our Westwood community was imprisoned in Iran for his key role in a protest to demonstrate the struggle for basic freedoms during Iran's path towards democracy, which obviously took some twists and turns. In 1999, with his life very much in danger, he escaped Iran, came to the United States where he sought asylum, and since then he has lived in, worked in, and served the Westwood community. And as you know, the Iranian community in Westwood, sometimes known as Tehrangeles, is incredibly historic, important, and vibrant. And Ruzbe is one of its foremost advocates. Is not only activist on behalf of the Iranian community and the Westwood business community, but Westwood as a whole as well. He currently serves as president of the West LA Chamber of Commerce. He's a member of the Westwood Neighborhood Council, Rotary Club, LA County Business Federation, and several other boards throughout Los Angeles. And in addition to all these accomplishments, he recently celebrated a 30th anniversary at Delphi Greek. We congratulate him for that, wish him many decades more of success, and it's a great honor to congratulate Ruzbe on this award.
CD6.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo.
Pleasure to have you.
Yes, can we stand? It's my pleasure to introduce Alonso and Elsa Arellano of Centro Botanero Mazatlan in Sun Valley in District 6 as my honorees today. In 2008, after being personally impacted by the loss of his parents to cancer and seeing the increase of obesity and diabetes rates, Alonso founded Nopaltilla, with the intention to produce and create a healthy and unprocessed Mexican food. As a medical scientist, first as a cancer researcher at UCLA, and currently working as a radiation physicist with the cancer patients at Kaiser Permanente Hospital, he utilized his work as a restaurant owner with his wife, Elsa, and Alonso has combined his passion for health, Mexican culture, and food. Alonso has also conducted research on his own and traveled back to Mexico exploring the health proprieties of indigenous food, embracing the philosophy of salud, sabor, and ancestral, and took the ancestral Mexican vegetable and food staple of el nopal and converted it to a high-quality flour that it's infused in tortillas, chips, cookies, pasta, pizza dough, and bread. And it's all very delicious because I've tried it all. The Arellanos have also held many jobs before becoming entrepreneurs. Alonso, an immigrant of Michoacan, Mexico, and his wife Elsa, who immigrated from El Salvador, have paved their road towards success with hard work and a desire to help their community. People often are surprised to learn that Alonso and Elsa Arellano, like many of our young immigrants, struggled to master the English language and dropped out of high school to help their prospective families earn their living. And at one point, even selling oranges at the exits of freeways in East Los Angeles. In search for a better life, Alonso joined the military, which gave him the opportunity to complete his school degree and continue on to achieve a higher education. Pulling together in tough times has always been a staple of their family. A devastating fire last year set by an arsonist destroyed their very popular mole restaurant, leaving many out of work. The Arellanos decided to create a pop-up restaurant right next door and to be able to bring a lot of the employees back and make sure that they had a job to come to. They rebuilt, while they're also rebuilding Rocio's Moles de los Dioses, which is also in my district. The pop-up restaurant happens to be right next door as they rebuild Rocio's, which is in the process of getting rebuilt. Because of their resilience, they not only kept their employees all working, they have created El Centro Botanero Mazatlan, serving authentic seafood cuisine known from the Pacific Ocean region of Mazatlan in Sinaloa, Mexico, and it's in the heart of Sun Valley. I would also like to commend Elsa Arellano for her strength and dedication to her family and the business ventures. Anytime you walk into her restaurant, you will see her working hard and always has a smile for her customers. She's determined to make sure her businesses succeed. Today, I'm proud to congratulate you both on your ongoing success and look forward to continuing to see you represent the communities of Sun Valley with pride in my district. Congratulations to you both, and we wish them a continued success. Thank you very much, Mr. Cedillo, for allowing us to do this today.
Congratulations. Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, colleagues. It's my absolute honor, colleagues, to present to you not just a tremendous business in the city of Los Angeles, but these folks help keep people cool in the San Fernando Valley, and you'll learn why in a second. I have the honor of recognizing the Limon family, represented here today by Omar. They are the founders of Raspado Express. And Mr. Huizar, that's Raspado Express without the E.com, because they also cater. And the Limon family, as many families in our community, immigrated to the United States to realize a better dream for their families. The patriarch of the family, Oscar, started selling raspados from a cart in Pacoima. Now, colleagues, we are going to be contemplating some very important legislation in the coming weeks to months on street vending, and here is a story of which we should pattern our efforts. They started selling raspados from a cart in Pacoima, and as you know, raspados are the equivalent of shaved ice, right? We grew up with snow cones, right? These raspados have become so popular that the wait lines in our community for them have grown. So much so that Raspados Express enjoys the opening of their 12th store, 2 stores in Pacoima, 12th store tomorrow from 3 to 6. So check out their website, raspadoexpress.com. They opened their first Raspado Express in the San Fernando Valley across from where that initial cart was presented to the community, where people actually waited in line to buy them from Omar's dad. If you ask the matriarch of the family, Lourdes, why her raspados are so good, why they've enjoyed so much success, she'll tell you, porque les hice con amor, because I made them with love. And colleagues, I think that explains an awful lot of what we're feeling today, the love that people share with one another through their immigrant experience and their history, and in this case, through raspados. 14 years later, the Limon family expanded the enterprise. So the 12 businesses, they range from family member to family member, from Sylmar to Pomona, and as I mentioned, this weekend they're opening their 12th store. They have a winter menu, understanding that raspados and snow cones are a summer treat in the San Fernando Valley. Now they prepare crepes in the winter. Crepes, right? We're all going to go to Raspados Express soon, Mitchell, to enjoy them. Hot coffee, Café de la Olla, and of course our traditional Mexican chocolate type drinks. They are a tremendous asset to the community, separate and aside from everything that they do in satisfying our tummies. They're also real stewards in the community. It is often that you see the Limon family, in particular Omar, participate through our community to make sure that we are doing the absolute best, not just as businesses, but as residents of the Northeast San Fernando Valley. So with that, colleagues, I am so excited to present today the Limon family, the Raspado Express Dynasty, a immigrant affairs heritage token of our appreciation. Thank you. I'm going to stand here. There we go. Perfect.
I hope they brought some of that Café de la Olla.
Thanks, Mr. Harris.
CD8.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, or Ms. Chair, and Councilmember Cedillo for bringing this to us today. I'm very proud and honored to bring as our honoree from Council District 8, Chef Farid Zadi of Revolucionario Tacos on Jefferson Boulevard in South Los Angeles. Farid was born in France to Algerian parents who were born in Algeria under Algerian rule. He moved to Los Angeles about 20 years ago as a chef, began teaching at Cordon Bleu, and I believe a couple of the restaurateurs that are here were some of your students at Cordon Bleu. At Revolucionario Tacos, he revolutionized the fusion of Mexican food and North African food. And so I got to read this so I make sure you get it right. So the Revolucionario Tacos have barbacoa, which is pungent shirmola and roasted cauliflower tossed in ras el hanout. And where you would usually find salsa, instead they have kimchi, cortido, red and green harissa sauces. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. It's really good, even if you can't quite pronounce it correctly. The North African Moors, as you know, came to the New World and brought to what we now know as Mexico things like cattle, rice, and cheese. Yes. In turn, they came back with vegetables like tomatoes, chiles, and corn. And Mr. Zadi has pioneered the kind of fusion food that I think you only find in the city of Los Angeles. And what better place in this city than South Los Angeles to find a fusion of North African and Mexican food there on Jefferson Boulevard, just around Normandy. We're very happy that the chef is joined by his two children, Camila and Elias, who are with us today. And Ms. Chairwoman, we promised you a food tour of Council District 8.
I'm still waiting, Mr. Harris.
So we're going to start. We're about
a year late.
On the north end at 1436 West Jefferson Boulevard, right near Normandy Avenue. There's plenty of street parking and lots of good food all the time.
I will eat my way through the city. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
For Mr. Price, we're happy to honor Alfonso Martinez, owner of Ponchos Tayudas. Are these Oaxacans? What? Yes? De Oaxaca? Sí, eso. Born in Santo Domingo, Alvaradas, Oaxaca. Oh, this phonetic spelling here. Oaxaca. Mexico. He's been an inspiration to the South Los Angeles community since arriving a few years ago. From his famous mole to his award-winning trayudas, his cuisine is unforgettable. In addition to being an amazing restaurateur, his establishment also serves as a gathering place for the community. It's where families come to have Sunday dinner and relax after church. He always has an open door and a kind word. New customers feel like they're sitting at their kitchen table in their childhood home. I encourage everyone within the sound of my voice to stop by and have a meal. He is joined by his wife, Odelia Romero, and his son, Biani. Let me tell you, the Oaxacans are very proud of their place in Mexican society and in the Western Hemisphere. They bring very unique cuisine and a unique experience, both indigenous and part of the Western Hemisphere. And they are really, really great at giving you a great sense of hospitality. Señor, felicidades. Congratulations. $10, $11, Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Thank you, Madam President. Come on up. Get a little bit closer. Get in the camera shot. You cued me up pretty well by talking about the culinary talents and the hospitality of the Oaxacan community, because I have the pleasure of honoring members of the Oaxacan community who own not one, but 2 restaurants. Many of the folks here have owned more than 1 restaurant. I'm very lucky that both of their restaurants are in my district. This is Ismael and Yolanda Diego and their son Ismael Jr., and they are the owners of Taco Miendo. There are 2 Taco Miendos in my district. They refer to their first flagship store as being in Culver City, and it does have a Culver City zip code, but it's actually in Del Rey, a community in my district that is over 40% Latino, 37% foreign-born, and the other one is in West LA, not far from my office. After coming here from Oaxaca and working in a number of different restaurants in Los Angeles, Killer Shrimp and a number of others, Ismael and Yolanda decided they wanted to open up their own place. And so they opened up the first Taco Miendo, which is at 4502 Inglewood Boulevard. Again, Culver City zip code, but actually in the city of Los Angeles. They opened that in 2000, and I discovered it probably in late 2000, maybe early 2001, when a friend of mine lived nearby. And I'm a bit of a fish taco connoisseur, and they have exceptional fish tacos. They serve mole, they serve a lot of Oaxacan food, and they serve a lot of American food as well. And shortly, about 5 years after that, their first store was so exceptional that they opened up a second store in West LA, which I'm very fortunate is not far from my West LA office. It's where I do a lot of lunch meetings. That store is at 11462 Gateway. And that property where they are for their second business is actually probably going to be redeveloped. It's been purchased. And so they're going to be looking for a second store because I want them to continue. And the next one, we're going to help them find a location that's even better than the one they're in now. They are one of the best restaurants in the city. It's a real authentic experience. They have a feeling that they like customers to leave feeling like they've just come from La Plaza in Mexico City. They have Mexican artwork throughout the restaurants. They make their own tortillas. But they're also an important part of the fabric of the community. They donate a lot of food and some of their proceeds to various organizations in the community, and they routinely hire immigrant youth, and sometimes for their first job, to help them get through college. So it's really my pleasure to have them both here. In February of 2005 or 2015, I started on my social media a weekly, every Thursday, a small business spotlight. And when we kicked it off, it was a no-brainer for me that this was the first business in my district that I wanted to spotlight because they represent some of the best of CD11. So congratulations, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And she's going to do a photo.
Mr. O'Farrell, you want to tell us about one of the first and most noteworthy taco experiences of Los Angeles?
Absolutely. Is anyone else getting hungry?
It's a hot spot.
Okay, my stomach started growling about 10 minutes ago, so this is great. Mr. Cedillo, thank you so much for kicking off Immigrant Heritage Month. It's worthwhile to note that everyone under this great roof is of immigrant heritage, every last one of us. And I think back just very briefly on the Farrell side of the family. 3 generations ago, they escaped Ireland in extreme poverty. Humble farmers who came to the Battery, ended up in Illinois, then ended up in Oklahoma Territory, where I was eventually born 3 generations later on my father's side of the family. So we honor our immigrants through the stories that we're telling today and then our own stories as well. Madam President, I just want to say that I'm especially proud to represent Yucas in the Great 13th District. There are 2 locations. There's one in the 13th and there's one in the 4th. We get the best of both worlds. The addresses are on Hillhurst, it's 2056 Hillhurst. On Hollywood Boulevard, it's 4666 Hollywood Boulevard. And there's a website, and you can order online. You can arrange to have catering, and it's yucasla.com. I encourage all of you to take advantage of this incredible place with an incredible story. Yucas was created when an opportunity arose to buy a small converted shoe shine stand and bring Los Angelinos the true flavor of Mexico by Socorro Mama right here. And when Socorro first saw the 8 by 10 foot space in 1976, she exclaimed, "It's enough for me." She recalls she didn't have equipment or a plan, but her friends had been encouraging her to open a restaurant, and she and her late husband, Jaime, figured it would be helpful for at least the next 4 years to cover their daughter Dora's steep tuition at Brown University. The menu is influenced by Socorro's Yucatan roots, soft tacos and burritos filled with carnitas, which is the mayor's favorite, I understand, carne asada, and Yuca's specialty, cochinita pibil, which is a Mayan word.
Yes.
Socorro thought she could run the restaurant alone, but soon discovered that her small dream was about to blow sky high with an article in the LA Times, a write-up. The author of that article came and helped out the entire day, answering phones, helping with orders, and chatting people up. Does she still work there? Yes. All right. After Dora graduated, she returned home to help run the business that paid for her education. She's been working there ever since, managing Yucas on Hollywood, while her mother greets her fans at the Hut on Hillhurst. Yucas is an award-winning restaurant, lots of awards, Assembly, Honoree of the Year, et cetera, magazines, television shows, Oprah, you name it, they're a famous institution. And Dora has served in the community for so long and has helped found the Los Feliz Village Business Improvement District and has served on the Greater Griffith Park Neighborhood Council as President, Secretary, Treasurer. So they're also community members, volunteers, community builders. And there's one thing that unites us in these United States, and that is food.
Yes.
So let's all eat together, break bread together, and eliminate our differences through food and culture. Yucas, congratulations. Bravo. The whole city loves you.
Thank you.
Councilman Huizar.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Cedillo, for doing this every year. It's great to see
old Brooklyn establishment.
Pardon me?
An old Brooklyn establishment. Tell
the
us.
old Brooklyn establishment, a place you've been to many, many places. And thank you for doing this every year. It's great to see the different types of food, the diversity of food that we see here. And given that immigrants come to this city not only with their entrepreneurial spirit, hard work, and energy, they also bring with them a lot of culture. Food is really culture. And on top of that, one way for us to all get along is, when you think about it, as diverse as we are as a city, when you sit down and break bread with somebody, that helps us all break down any differences we may perceive to be there and get along. So this is a great way to celebrate Immigrant Heritage Month. So thank you, Mr. Cedillo. And I'm here with Carmen Salas, Maria del Carmen Salas, as her full name. She has La Paria in Boyle Heights and 6 other places throughout the city. She is from Esquinapa, Sinaloa, and emigrated to Boyle Heights in 1968. For 10 years, like many immigrants, she toiled and worked hard at several different jobs. Finally, she had the opportunity to open up her own small restaurant where La Paria is currently located on Cesar Chavez, then called Brooklyn Avenue, in 1978. Someone Jewish back there. It was a Jewish neighborhood at that time. After another 10 years, more hard work and dedication, Carmen expanded her business by taking over the neighboring commercial space, which was followed by yet another expansion to the footprint that La Paria currently enjoys, occupying a total of 3 small adjacent commercial spaces on Cesar Chavez Avenue. And today, La Paria is one of the best-known restaurants in Boyle Heights. Whether you go there to celebrate a special occasion, have a lunch meeting, or meet up with family and friends, you know you are going to enjoy some delicious home-style Mexican food. Carmen's unique menu was developed by Carmen along with her chef, Juanita Pano, who is with us today. Juanita is from Acapulco and has been Carmen's chef since La Paria first opened its doors 38 years ago. Some of their specialties include their parrilladas of steak, chicken, and shrimp, their molcajetes, fresh guacamole, and their well-known, often eaten handmade tortillas and quesadillas. The quesadillas are some of the best they've tasted, next to my mom's, of course. In addition to La Paria's delicious menu, it is also known for its ornate decorations that change with the holiday season. So, Mr. Cedillo, if you ever go there and you don't even know what day it is, as busy as we are sometimes, just walk in there to remind you of it's Valentine's Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Halloween. Her restaurant is decorated for the season every year, and Christmas is just a great place to go see where we really celebrate that holiday season. Growing up in Mexico, where her mother had a fonda, a small restaurant in the local mercado where she sold tacos, tostadas, and asado, and passed her recipes on to her daughter, Carmen's dream, and really it became her American dream, was to own a restaurant someday. She achieved that and so much more, and it's great to see that here in the city of LA, people still and continue to achieve the American dream. And with that, it's my honor to present this to Maria del Carmen Salas on behalf of the city of LA for City's Immigrant Heritage Month, our recognition for you being the Council District 14 Restaurant of the Year. Felicidades.
Okay, come on up.
Councilmember Buscaino, you have a bakery named after you in your district?
Yes, not after me, trust me. Thank you, Mr. Cedillo, for giving us an opportunity to celebrate who we are as one city and the immigrants who have contributed to this great city by ways of their culinary art abilities and skills. For me and for us here in San Pedro, we are celebrating Joseph's Bakery. In August, they'll be celebrating 50 years. An amazing location, known for their glazed pastry rolls, croissants, authentic Italian cookies and goodies, breads, and of all varieties, and their well-known pizza. In fact, I think they're the only establishment in the city of LA that opens at 5 a.m. and serves pizza. And trust me, there's a line out the door. Our longshoreman knows Joseph's Bakery very well. Here we are celebrating the contributions of the Tuberozzi family, colleagues. They originate from Ischia, Italy, which is a sister city of ours. Immigrated then to Argentina at Mar del Plata. And you're soon here on item 4 before us. We have Commissioner Prozzi, who is the son of Ischia, once a son of Ischia, and also Ambassador Vilma Martinez, who is the ambassador to Argentina at one point, and reminds us that Mar del Plata is home to many, many Italian immigrants. So they arrived here in 1966, and 3 months later opened Joseph's Bakery with the goal of providing customers with classic baked goods in a warm, friendly atmosphere. We are here to celebrate Carmine Tuberozzi and his wife Rose and sons George and Victor. I have fond memories of Joseph's Bakery. Every year, my dad, who's a baker, during the Feast of St. Joseph at Mary Star, we would get up early in preparation of the Feast of St. Joseph, go to Joseph's Bakery, thanks to Carmine for opening his doors. And my dad and I well, not me, but my dad, I'd watch my dad bake in preparation for the St. Joseph's table at Mary Star of the Sea Parish. So we recognize the contributions they have made, their stories of sacrifice, not only for their families, but coming to this country to provide for their family and for our city. So, un poco in italiano, celebriamo 50 anni in San Pedro, Joseph's Bakery. Auguri, auguri, auguri. Grazie.
Excuse me, members of the public, can we please keep our voices down? Mr. Cedillo, to close?
Yes, we're going to close. I have two speakers, but I wanted to let Mr. Buscaino know that Ischia, this small island to the south of the southern part of Italy, is an amazing place where half of the population comes and goes to San Pedro, and it just shows how small our world is, that half the population of Ischia is also are also residents of the city of Los Angeles. Let us finish with two voices that are leading the efforts to make sure that immigrants are appreciated in this city. Let me begin by introducing Catherine Lyons, who brought this idea to us. So all of us, when we go back after this, go back and eat in the back, we can all thank Catherine for not for preparing the food, but for preparing the idea that we could all break bread with each other. Catherine is the director of Welcome US, and let's hear from her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Cedillo, for bringing this celebration to us today. My name is Catherine Lyons. I am here representing Forward US, but also representing our sister organization, Welcome US, which founded Immigrant Heritage Month 3 years ago this month. So I wanted to thank the City of Los Angeles for every one of those past 3 years. You have declared and proclaimed June as Immigrant Heritage Month in this city. We've been honored to be here at every one of those celebrations, and certainly congratulations to the honorees today, and we're happy to be here yet again, hopefully the first of many years to come. This is truly one of our favorite days of the year, not only because of the amazing food that we're hopefully about to partake in, but just because this powerful ceremony that we just witnessed is really important in lifting up the contributions of immigrants to our city that is rich in the diversity of cultures. And I think we saw that here today. It's truly what makes us great. And this June is particularly a pivotal month for our immigrant communities. We are expecting a decision from the Supreme Court that will determine the fates of nearly 5 million immigrant families, 500,000 of them in the Los Angeles area. So now more than ever, it is important to demonstrate how America's diversity, fueled in great part by immigrants, makes us stronger and more connected as a nation. To this end, we created the I Am an Immigrant campaign as part of this year's Immigrant Heritage Month, and that encourages all of us to explore our individual heritage and recognize our distinct and shared experiences, again, which we did today, and I hope it's a continuation throughout the month. We all have a piece of the American story, whether as a new immigrant, a native to this land, a descendant of slavery, or those who came to our nation seeking a better life. I Am an Immigrant honors each of our families' sacrifices, struggles, successes, and America's strength is reflected in our diversity built over generations. So we encourage everyone here today to stand up with immigrants and join us. We have a website called IamAnImmigrant.com. You can create your own meme that says I am an immigrant over your picture. We actually have t-shirts for all of you here today, all the city council members as well as the honorees, that say I am an immigrant. And I think it's just a really important moment to stand with the immigrant communities here in Los Angeles and in our country during this month of June, but for the rest of the year and always. So thank you all again for proclaiming June as Immigrant Heritage Month. We're so glad to be here. And again, congratulations to honorees. Thank you.
Finally, Madam Chair, let us close with one of the most tenacious, one of the clearest, one of the most thoughtful voices on behalf of immigrants in the city, the Executive Director of CHIRLA, Angelica Salas.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Cedillo, for your leadership always, and also to Forward US for bringing us and making June Immigrant Heritage Month. I am today filled with the deepest of appreciation for every single one of you, members of the City Council, Madam President. I just really want to say that in this month, June 2016, as we as a nation make decisions about which way we're going forward, You have said today, we're going forward together with immigrant communities that strengthen our economy, that show us what sacrifice and hard work means, that you, together with all these incredible representations of our immigrant community, are saying we build this nation together. We are not about division, we're about unity. We're about making sure that we give everybody a chance to fulfill their dreams. But we also recognize that dreams require action, that they require real, tenacious action. And so each one of these stories represents that hard work. I represent an organization whose mission, CHIRLA, is to create a society that is just and inclusive of immigrants. And I want you to know that those individuals who are members of CHIRLA have just finished working the primary elections. They have knocked on doors. They have talked to their community to make sure that we're present in the economy, we're present in every aspect of this society, but we're also present at the election booth, because it matters that our voices are heard. But once again, I want to say congratulations to all of you who got honored today, and I want to say thank you so much to each one of you for just being courageous leaders in this moment. Thank you.
Okay. Final photo op. Who you on?
Okay, thanks.
Are you ready? Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. A big round of applause to honor our honorees. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Mr. Herman? Mr. Clerk, we're going to move on to item number 4.
Madam President, that brings us to item number 4, called special for Councilmember Buscaino.
Okay. Public comment has been satisfied for this item, sir, so...
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item before you is an item that is long awaited. For decades, the city, the communities of San Pedro have been demanding the redevelopment of Port Sakal, and it's before us today. We haven't seen this much progress in 50 years for the redevelopment of Port Sakal and the revitalization of the LA waterfront. Consider where we've been 18 months ago with no commitment from the Harbor Department to fund and complete the $50 million of public infrastructure needed to redevelop the Port Sakal site. There were questions about the viability and the future of development along the waterfront. Because of the leadership and the commitment from our General Manager, Gene Soroka, and his Chief of Staff, Don Liu, the Commission guided this process along, even with the leadership and the direction of our Director of Commercial Waterfront Development, Mike Galvin. We, along with the push from my office and Mayor Garcetti, we have been successful in securing a 10-year capital improvement program for the port that commits $200 million of public access infrastructure for both San Pedro and Wilmington. This commitment has provided certainty and confidence in the development community and led to tremendous progress in the negotiations with Mr. Rakovich, who's here, Wayne Rakovich, and Eric and Alan Johnson, that has led to a signed lease commitment to redevelop Port Sakal. Now, you'll see slides here throughout the presentation. We will raise the existing buildings, erect new structures, and add distinctive attractions and provide waterfront access to the public via landscape of boulevard, promenades, and parks. It will be an attraction that highlights San Pedro's unique and rich maritime history. In fact, I turn to Mr. Rakovich from today's Immigrant Heritage Month. There's going to be an opportunity to bring foods from around the world to this development. And Mr. Rakovich, you have some potential tenants here based on today's council presentation. It will be an attraction that highlights San Pedro's unique and rich maritime history, the theater of the LA waterfront on the working operations of the main channel. You see the arrival of cruise ships and containers, cargo ships coming in and out, have the potential to draw millions of tourists, attract new businesses, create long-term employment, construction jobs, generate tax revenue, and provide additional services, transform the LA waterfront while stimulating growth across this entire region. This passage will provide an additional tool to encourage private investment along the LA waterfront, and we're already seeing the interest today, just based on the commission action on May 19th. You see a lot of private investment wanting to come into the downtown San Pedro area. This new Ports of Call project presented by the LA Waterfront Alliance is a great start. It's just the beginning, colleagues. I want to now turn it over to our General Manager, Gene Soroka, for a few words, and then we'll have the commissioners asked to say a few words as well. Mr. Soroka, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Buscaino. Madam President, members of council, and esteemed guests, my name is Gene Soroka. I'm the General Manager of the Harbor Department here in Los Angeles. We bring before you today what we believe to be a transformative project to revitalize our waterfront, a true game changer in visitor serving activity and the growth of our service to our community. I would like to thank our harbor commissioners, led by President Vilma Martinez. To my left, Commissioner Anthony Perozzi, Commissioner Patricia Castellanos, and Commissioner Ed Renwick for their guidance and leadership in getting us here today. I would also like to thank the developers, Wayne Ratkovich, Eric and Alan Johnson of the Los Angeles Waterfront Alliance, from the Ratkovich Company, Claire DeBreer and Brian Sanger, who led us through our negotiations also to get us here to this great day. Your commitment and the work that you would like to do here in our city is truly appreciated. To our staff, Don Liu, Mike Galvin, Helen Sock from the City Attorney's Office, Ed Robles, and countless others who work so tirelessly to put this deal together and bring before you here today. And it all begins with our mayor, Eric Garcetti, Ana Guerrero, Kelly Bernard, David Rich, and Aaron Gross, who helped me as I first joined this city to really put steam behind this effort. But the dream started with our council member, Joe Buscaino. And even going back to my interview and his questions around how I could be supportive to help transform our waterfront resonated with me that very first day. And Joe, I thank you for your leadership and your friendship in getting us here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soroka. Appreciate your leadership, Gene. Before we turn it over to our commissioners, colleagues, today's approval has given us an opportunity to move forward on commercial development, but it has also we've learned some lessons moving forward on the future commercial retail development at the Port of Los Angeles. Can you just touch on that, Gene, on what have we've learned and planning on going forward with creating a policy at the port on future commercial development?
Well, this really will be the start. It is a $150 million project, $50 million of which has been committed by the Harbor Department for infrastructure and planning to get the developer moving in the proper direction that they envision. With this in place now, that will be the opportunity to showcase what the waterfront will deliver in the future for other developers to come and invest in our city and our harbor enclave. So we believe this will be the catapult to future success and attracting those parties to come and invest in our city.
Wonderful. I know so much progress being made on the Wilmington side as well with the overall design of the Wilmington waterfront. Thank you so much for your commitment. I want to turn over, if I may, to Ambassador Martinez, President of the Harbor Commission.
Thank you, Councilman. Well, this is a dream come true for very many people, starting with yourself. You have been the lead proponent, cheerleader, and we have very much appreciated that leadership. And I think you're going to see some terrific results. Certainly in terms of the public-private partnership that this will represent, what is so fascinating to me is the combination of this beautiful San Pedro public market combined with our country's major container port. You know, the ability to live together and create the jobs and opportunities for our citizens here is very special to me. And I thank Gene Soroka for the leadership he's provided us, and my fellow commissioners for their generosity in listening to all the questions that we raised. And Gene has already thanked our staff and the developer, but I want to add my thanks to our staff and the developer, because without their very hard work, we would not have gotten here today.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador. And to our Commissioner Perosi, the mayor is really committed to ensuring that we have local representation on the commission with Mr. Perosi and Ms. Commissioner Castellanos. We have just that. And to Commissioner Perosi, what of an impact is this going to have in our local communities in San Pedro?
Well, first I wanted to also thank Commissioner Arion, who's not with us today. He's also one of our locals and could be here today, but he's also pressed real hard working with all of us. So I just wanted to give him a shout out as well. This is a big opportunity, not just for locals, but it makes our waterfront another international destination. I think about what we just saw today with Immigrants Day and seeing all the folks from around the world that have come to Los Angeles to start a new life. You know, back when our families came, and mine in particular, starting in the early 1900s from Ischia, they didn't come for the weather. They came for the water in order to fish and start a new life or work in the canneries. And that has evolved to this moment today. So we're just excited to make a new Port Sakal and turn it over into the San Pedro public market, put San Pedro on the map finally with its name and lights. And so it's just an exciting opportunity to set the next 50 to 100 years of our LA waterfront in San Pedro and Wilmington.
Thank you. Commissioner Castellanos, say a few words.
Good morning. Ooh, wow, that's loud. Good morning, everyone. These microphones are much more effective than the ones at the commission chamber. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us. And I think no more than to echo what's already been said. Thank you to Gene and his leadership. I think this new leadership definitely got the ball moving. My fellow commissioners who have been working hard on this, staff, the incredible persistence and tenacity of our leader on council, Councilmember Joe Buscaino. And I think the other, in addition to the developers and the local Chamber of Commerce, there's been incredible testimony, comment, investment by all stakeholders in the communities in Wilmington, San Pedro, the harbor have been deeply involved on this issue for many years, and I think share our excitement and enthusiasm in this day and what's happening. So I do think it's worth thanking everyone who was involved every step of the way in getting us here. And I do remember when I came before you for my appointment, I remember the questions very clearly, specifically around support for waterfront development, and I did commit on that day that this was an important issue for me, both on the San Pedro waterfront, but also the Wilmington waterfront, and we're making progress on both fronts, and I'm really excited about that. And I also at the time said that I looked forward to the time where I could welcome all of you and all of the residents of the city of Los Angeles from every corner of the city and now every corner of the state to our groundbreaking, but also to our ribbon cutting, and really looking forward to that moment where we can show off this beautiful asset to the world and create this attraction.
Yes.
So
Thanks,
thank
Patty.
you.
Thank you so much. And our final commissioner who understands the importance of real estate development, Commissioner Renwick, thank you for guiding this process as well to get to where we're at today. I'll share a few words.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, Madam President and council persons, it's a great honor for me to be here today. I want to thank you first and foremost for the choice of commissioners that you made. My present company, myself excluded, I think it's a fantastic commission, and we've all worked together so incredibly cohesively. I was very excited to come today. I brought my daughter Rainey to see the democratic process in action, so it's very exciting. I think what makes me so excited about what we're doing at the port is that we are increasing public access. We're focusing on keeping the air cleaner, and finally we're creating jobs. So I think Gene didn't mention it, but I think the month of May is a record month of May for the history of the port in terms of containers brought in, and every container we bring in means more jobs to the people of Southern California. So I want to thank all of you for all of your support. The final thing is that when people ask the question, why is it that over the past 3 years we have done more on waterfront development than in the past 30 years, the answer is 3 words: Councilman Joe Buscaino. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate that. If I may, Madam President, bring up our developers to say a few words. Mr. Rakovich, Eric Johnson from Jericho Development. Colleagues, it's been a long, drawn-out process. We've learned our lessons. We're moving forward. These 2 men here before us could have easily walked away, have given up, but they believed in the project. Mr. Rakovich is a rock star developer that has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the city of Los Angeles, from Playa Vista, Mr. Bonin's district, Mr. Weezar's district here in downtown Los Angeles in Macy Plaza. He, along with Jericho Development, will add one more gem of a project at the LA waterfront to deliver bring in tourism, retail, dining, hospitality jobs for the entire South Bay communities and throughout the region. Mr. Rakovich, I'll turn it over to you to say a few words, and we offer a debt of gratitude for your commitment and investing in our hometown.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to visit with you. The thank yous have already been identified, those to whom we have great respect and admiration and appreciation. But let me summarize it by saying I think what we have formed is a public-private partnership in its best form, its most admirable form. There's enormous responsibility that comes with this project. We recognize that. We're concerned about it. We're going to carry it forward. We're going to make it happen. You're going to get the best we have to offer, and we thank you for the support that you have given to us. And Councilman Buscaino, they should rename this whole town after you when this thing works.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Eric Johnson, Jericho Development.
Thanks again, Madam President, members of the council. I think pretty much everything's been said, Joe. You know your impact on this project. I will reiterate that it was not possible without a true partnership. It was not easy, but it's a difficult project. It's complex. The infrastructure necessary to make this site developable is the commitment that's been made by the city and the port. Yep. Our job now is to make it a reality. Yes. It's awash with potential, and as Wayne said, we're going to give it the best we can, yes. And we continue to need your support and the support of the city as we go through this process to make this the highest and best possible use on the San Pedro waterfront.
And we will. We will. Thank you so much for your presentation. Colleagues, today's I vote will send a message to residents of San Pedro and the city that enough with the skepticism. A new Ports of Call will be redeveloped into the San Pedro public market. We have been talking about this, and gone are the days of talking about it. We will now get shovels in the ground. We have strict timelines that have been identified by both the port and the developers. We are moving forward on this. I want to thank Committee Chairman Bob Blumenfield, Councilman Blumenfield, and my colleagues on the committee for making this happen and approving it unanimously in committee. Of course, Miguel Santana, Sharon So as well, CAO CLA's office for getting this to us quickly. We have representing the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce, Elise Swanson, the Executive Director of the Chamber. Thank you, Elise, for your presence. This has been a project and has been embraced by the entire community of San Pedro. And we feel that with this project, we're going to see ongoing investment, which we already have in both the private sector, the nonprofit sector. Battleship Iowa is incredible today. Crafted just opened LA's newest brewery and greenest brewery, solar panel brewery at Crafted. And of course, AltaSea, which is going to diversify the workforce here. A lot of interest in creating mixed income housing along the waterfront as well, to have these individuals who are going to be working at AltaSea. It's going to be the blue tech hub of the city of Los Angeles, and we're really pleased to bring in AltaSea as well. I do know the mayor met with AltaSea representatives yesterday, and Mayor Garcetti is fired up over AltaSea moving forward as well. So with that, strongly ask for an aye vote. This is a moment in time that we've been looking forward to for decades. Colleagues, I know you've heard me in this horseshoe talk about the importance of waterfront development. And having this, advocating for folks to visit the LA waterfront. Fleet Week is coming, Labor Day weekend, and a lot more of events will be taking shape here in the coming years. So I ask for an aye vote and move forward on this and make this happen here.
Very
Thank
well.
you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vizcaino. Thank you very much. Members, that concludes speakers on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
13 ayes.
Item passes. Congratulations.
President, if I can, an urgent forthwith. And we have to vote on the urgent forthwith, if I can.
We will vote on the urgent forthwith, Mr. Vizcaino. Let's open the roll,
Thank you.
close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
13 ayes.
And colleagues, if we could take a quick photo here with all of our partners, because this is historic for us in the harbor area, I really appreciate it. Quick photo, if I can, Madam President, around the table.
Sure.
Thank you. Love you.
Okay. Only for you, Mr. Vizcaino. Let's make this fast. Mr. Vizcaino, we gotta move. We have 2 more items on the agenda. We gotta move.
I can't hear you right there.
But I think I can't yell at anybody else. Because it sucks. I can't yell at anybody. Just give me somebody else. Oh, yeah. Thanks. They do. I know.
Okay, gentlemen, if I can have you get back to your seats. We have 2 more items on the agenda we got to get through. Mr. Clerk, we're going to move on to item 1.
That would be item 1B and 1C, called special for cards.
First speaker on item 1 is Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. And here it is, building and safety. As we've said, when you do a good job, we're here to congratulate you. And as far as watching out for nuisance abatement and noncompliance of code violations, personally, and I moved here, first time I lived here was 1966, and I found the city of Los Angeles has been very good at nuisance abatement. You do a good job, I'm here first to praise you. And these are liens, or these are fines, and one is for $3,750, $3,600. A couple have been waived or postponed. $2,600. You've done a very good job here, and thank you for doing a good job. During public comment, I'm not going to be thanking anyone. General public comment, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. The next speaker is Dr. Hufnagel. Followed by Eric Previn and Herman. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for a task force. I'd like the city attorney to listen to this. We need a task force on bank crimes. How many of these homes are repossessions or in litigation? Who should you be suing is another question. Who could you collect from? I know that the deep pockets are the banks and not the people who are trying to save their homes. Also, in the system, we need to educate the homeowners on what they can do and to help themselves, because you have no system right now in the building section to tell people what they can do. A lot of people are buying AT&T alarms. Did you know that AT&T puts alarms in but fails to put the wireless in? So what good is an alarm that doesn't get reported? Also, things that they can do to immediately get their house covered up with wood. There's no listing. There is no help for people. So the homeowners who are in trouble are already in trouble, but we're putting more trouble on them and not helping them. And bank crimes. If I gave you all a list, you're all intelligent, you all know your stuff, I could show you that you know nothing about bank crimes, especially in Los Angeles. And that is very true, and it is true that the police do not even have a system on their computer when a home gets robbed time after time after time. I have a home now that I'm reviewing 9 break-ins, and every time the police are called, they click it in and nothing comes up. And they've cried to me, we don't have a system. They don't have nerds like you see on TV going, oh, let's find the criminal. They don't have anything to help them. They're very deficient. How can they help when they haven't even had a class on financial crimes themselves? Please help the issues.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker is Eric Previn, followed by Herman.
Yes, Council President Martinez, it's Eric Previn from the 2nd District. This is item 1, which I cannot understand why is coming 2+ hours into the meeting. You called people down here to address liens on their property, so it's puzzling that we heard from 15 separate little presentations that were all very nice, by the way. And I want to thank Sadia one more time because nobody likes heritage more than me, and I absolutely feel good about honoring this group.
The speaker
these
is not
groups.
talking
But
to the
yes,
item.
that's right, sir, because I'm on item 1, which is
no, you're
2
not.
hours. Well, item 1 is a hearing protest appeal on these liens that get put on. Mr. Falbo, please, you're an excellent guy, but you don't interrupt the speakers, okay? It's rude and it's improper. I waited 2 hours.
On the item, sir.
Okay, so the problem with the liens is that you'd only notice certain people in neighborhoods like Sun Valley where a guy had trash in his yard. Rather than telling him to pick it up, you fine him $300. Then you send him a bill and said, oh, you got to do something else. And then you send him another bill, and now it's up to $3,500. And I think that's even in your district, council member. But nonetheless, this is from 2012 or 2010. So I looked at it and I was like, you're kidding. Someone had a car park and he's getting this astronomical compounding fine, which I find improper in a way because there are other folks who don't pay, for example, the transit occupancy tax, Mr. Falbo. I know you are familiar with that particular issue. And then we don't put them out here on a lien. In fact, what we do is we cut them a deal. So I find it awful. I find it problematic, but that's the item, okay? But I'm also here to talk about the meeting. I have to go now to a noon meeting. So can I just do my public comment, or we don't do that? This is not a community meeting. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Herman, item 1.
Well, as you heard, Mr. President is correct. We continue to deal with issues in CD7, CD6, Ms. Nuri, 9272 North Cahuenga Avenue. Good thing it's not a sweatshop or a hustler shop for dancing. But Felipe Fuentes, you have one here in San Jose Street, a lien for only $4,000. But I rough things out. You know, I roundabout. I learned how to roundabout. Although Mr. Fuentes is not in his seat, I declare this to be posted and held until Mr. Fuentes can have order with the public regarding this issue at item 160160 S340, because it sucks. That's what S stands for. So, Mr. City Attorney, when it comes to building and safety development, the report and confirmation of a lien for nuisance, I'm on topic. I'm on topic for lien nuisance abatement, cost, and compliance. Stop being poverty pimps. Give a break every so often. Is it unconstitutional for a person to waive the issues that I am explaining to the public? You up there, listen in. On Wednesday's meeting, the ladies and the gentlemen that spoke on liens had the same idea. It's unconstitutional. Respect the public, they respect you. Otherwise, we use intensifiers to say, and no matter what we do, we're here for public interest, Mr. City Attorney. But if you disagree with me, stand up like a man and say that I'm wrong. I hold these liens until the public can address these two issues in CD7 and CD6.
That concludes cards on this item, Mr. Clerk. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. Clerk, we're going to move on to Special 1.
Madam President, Special 1 has been circulated, and I believe the City Attorney is going to speak to the findings.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the Council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of the agenda for today's meeting, tiles started falling in the 2nd Street Tunnel in downtown Los Angeles. The tunnel was promptly closed to ensure public safety. In order to reopen the tunnel in a timely manner, the City will have to enter into contracts with outside vendors as quickly as possible. It is essential to immediately transfer funds of $500,000 for the contracts. Also, $500,000 has to be transferred for the Bureau of Engineering to immediately perform essential work. The motion before you will effectuate the transfer of those funds. 2 votes are required. The Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Very well. So let's vote on the findings, members. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Okay.
That matter is now before you.
We have one card, Mr. Herman.
You heard the report from the city attorney. Do you agree or disagree? We find that hard to believe that the city attorney comes up with this motion, a special, 2 hours later into a meeting. But the city attorney doesn't care about your rights as citizens or constituents or stakeholders. They do things behind closed doors, doors that lock you up, Wayne Spindler, but not in this issue. This issue has to do as to why the city attorney made these comments of argument, and we, the public, demand to rebuttal on it. That's because we figure out that cronyism and hiding the facts from the public is the way the city attorney runs the shaky, shady business of Chicago, like mafia organization. So with all due respect, Mr. City Attorney, I'm not going to stand here and waste anyone's time, as John Walsh highlighted. I'm not going to stand here and stomp my feet like a child and whine and cry, because I know for a fact there's something wrong in the system that you've created on behalf of the public's interest. We delegate on behalf of the public interest because we feel it's important to understand that Ralph M. Brown Act 54950 has all transparencies and all city business that we hold the sovereignty of control upon. 54950, 54950, and it's a secret. 54950.4.3C. Criticism's a bitch.
Next speaker, Eric Previn on Special 1. Followed by Antonia Ramirez and John Walsh.
Greetings, it's Eric Previn. Obviously, some tiles have fallen down in the 2nd Street Tunnel, and we are moving some money very quickly to that problem. But why it's happening like this, I don't understand, and why the Sherman Way Tunnel Fund is being involved. It seems like we're transferring $500 of Measure R money, if I have it correctly here, from the Sherman Way Tunnel under Van Nuys Airport Fund to the Gas Tax Street Improvement Fund, and ultimately 2nd Street Tunnel Safety Maintenance and Cleanup Program account number. Okay, it's confusing to ordinary residents, guys. So if somebody got hurt and a tile hit them on the head and we have to deploy $500 grand quickly before Weezer can cash a check, I get it. But can't we know what's actually, I mean, Mr. Falble, you're a very bright guy, obviously. Was that explanation legally sufficient? But what is actually going on? Are the tiles hurting people? Is there an emergency, or is this just hey, come on, nobody wants to spend $500,000 on tile repair during a homelessness crisis? I mean, I just don't understand. So I'm at a small disadvantage because obviously I just read this, and I want to thank Avak, by the way, for his posting process. It's very, very efficient the way he waits until the person leaves and then pins it right up on the bulletin board. It's a good way to sort of shake the public if that's their interest. I don't feel that this is probably just an ordinary piece of business, which is why I can't understand why it's not on a regular agenda. So I wish you guys were a little more give and takey in this space, because this is like, I mean, I still don't quite, I mean, I'm not worried about it. It's only $500,000 in a $8.75 billion budget. And true, it is being approved after the Cedillo Immigrant Festival that took 2+ hours, which is a great improvement over last year, where it took 3+ hours, as Dan Tona, who's reviewing my math, will confirm. So this is fantastic, and thank you once again for fixing those tiles.
Next speaker is Antonia Ramirez, followed by Mr. Walsh.
It says that this so-called tunnel that is located on 2nd Street by downtown Los Angeles is beginning to fall. Is it the tiles or the structure within the tiles, or within the framework of the tunnel? I don't get it. I'm not quite clear. Isn't that amazing? Many of us, not myself included, but I knew many of the individuals who were homeless, like one female Latina from El Salvador, beautiful little lady, very polite and very well-spoken, and very sweet. She would invite me to go to the tunnel there to stay overnight because we were during the El Nino. It did rain. I covered myself with plastics and I just parked myself out in front of City Hall and I slept out there with the rain. So I said, no, I don't feel too comfortable with that tunnel. So I never did. But as a child, I used to walk that tunnel from downtown by the music center all the way over to over there, across through that tunnel, all the way out to downtown LA. But my question is, how old is this tunnel? It doesn't say anywhere in your motion how old this tunnel is, and is it worth destroying it, demolishing all the way, or just making a few minor repairs? I don't get it. So again, this tunnel did serve a purpose for a lot of the homeless people who were under the El Nino storm. So God bless that tunnel. It helped. And so having said that, that tunnel is, it's a long tunnel, but God bless the tunnel. And so I would, again, ask the city council that next time, if you're going to put out an agenda item, give us less. You didn't even give us a minute to review this. So we're just speaking right now out of our experiences. We didn't even write or prepare for this, and that's not fair. Again, this is a violation, but we get this stuck to us all the time, and we're not gadflies. We talk from reality.
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Next speaker is Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. The more important item is, the less you discuss. Downtown is falling apart. What is the cause of the falling of the tiles? Just throw $500,000 to a favored contractor, sneak it in here off the agenda. Believe me, David Sennheiser, the mayor will go over and flirt with David Sennheiser at the LA Times. He's in love. Sennheiser's in love. And there'll be no story. But I want you to know how they actually found out that the tiles are falling. The homeless complained they were trying to sleep in the tunnel, and the tiles kept hitting them in the head. And then the mayor said, I got a great contractor for this. Let's throw him $500,000, but let's not put it on the agenda. Let's put it on as a special. The way you put it on, originally, the poison gas in the valley came in on a special. I'm telling you right now that what's here is an emergency. The cause of this is that 5.2 earthquake. We had a 5.2 earthquake recently. Everything in Los Angeles, at the core of Los Angeles, is falling apart, and you're just using patchwork. $500,000 here, $500,000 there. It'll never appear on the agenda. We weren't able to read it. HollywoodHighlands.org. The city is falling apart.
Okay, Mr. Weezer.
And at the request of the Bureau of Engineering, we're submitting this special motion, Rule 23, because of the pending emergency. The 2nd Street Tunnel has been closed and shut down. There's tiles that have fallen and continue to fall. BOE needs to move in there immediately to see what is the cause of it and to correct it. And it'll take a few days, but it is not only a major thoroughfare, it's also a historic tunnel that has these historic tiles, and so a lot is involved here, and I ask for your support to alleviate this emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weezer. We already voted on the findings, so let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That item passes.
Madam President, there's been a request to send that matter forthwith.
Forthwith. We'll send special one forthwith. Let's move on to item number 9.
Can we do a special one forthwith, please?
Yeah, we just did.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay.
That's item 9, called Special for Cards.
Okay, Mr. Walsh on item 9, sir. He passes. Mr. Previn, item number 9, he's not here. Herman on item number 9.
Madam Speaker, would you please address me as Mr. Herman? I earned it. Madam Speaker.
The clock is ticking.
It's all right. It's just a clock. The issue has to do with final maps in the various council districts. As you heard, Mr. Rue wasn't happy with his district change. But in particular, this deals with CD4 on one item, And on the other hand, it deals with CD6, which is in the Van Nuys, your area, Madam Speaker. Final maps of track dealing with some numbers amount for Quimby fees, Richmond Avenue, Homes of Maryland, blah, 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 blah. And then I go back to item regarding the subdivider for a measly $15,800, jack it off, rough it up, for a Jack Little company. These companies, these jokers or tokers, we don't even know them. Where's the information for us as constituents and stakeholders to delegate on behalf of what's happening in our consuls? Once again, where is transparency? Where is transparency? Yeah, you can shake your head all you want, Herman, but this Herman knows what the hell he's talking about when it comes to Quimby fee. I waive the remaining time to you, Ms. Speaker. Thank you for having interest in my conversation with you. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney, for not interrupting me under the...
That concludes speakers on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. Cedillo for reconsideration of item 3.
Thank you. And Madam President, amending motion 3A has been circulated and is now before
Let's
council for
vote on
consideration.
reconsideration, members. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that matter is before us now. The motion has been circulated as amended. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, item passes. Let's move on to public comment. Mr. Walsh? I don't have a card for you, ma'am, on item 3. That's why I didn't call your name. We are now moving on to public comment. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, chair of Anybody But Englander for supervisor. We had a fantastic election day. We won. Englander spent over $1 million. He was a shoo-in for the top 2. He finished 5th. We're not up here jerking off. We're not jerking off here. We're talking to the people, and the people are listening to us, and the people are voting Anybody But Englander. We have destroyed Mr. Englander's career. He is finished. He is a laughingstock. We did it. We did it, public comment here. We did it on my blog. We did it at over at the county. People listened to us, and they voted Anybody But Englander. He is pathetic, and yesterday he spent all day crying in bed. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Next speaker, Mr. Previn. Mr. Previn is not here. Antonio Ramirez, followed by Leah Renee.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, don't confuse the legal and supreme word immigrant with chango, cabrones, wetbacks, and gangbangers, i.e., they have a criminal gang epidemic in America is under siege. These jealous, nosy, violent, filthy, scummy wetbacks and chango Latino gangbanging rapists, pussies, thieves, and pigs, come caca assholes, for they are not immigrants. They are undesirable, criminal, diabolical felons who broke federal immigration laws. And furthermore, they are bent on destroying America, for they hate America, and that is their hidden secret agenda. This is why I am voting for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who hasn't been fooled like most of you. He knows it, and he will take immediate executive action. Deportation, no amnesty, no asylum. Operation Wetback at full throttle. Teach them how to flush the toilet, wash their hands. Teach them how to have civility and hurt human dignity. God bless you,
Thank you,
Donald
Ms. Ramirez.
Trump.
Your time is up. Thank you very much. Next speaker is Leah Renee.
Dear council members and Mayor Garcetti, we need your help. City officials and employees continue to allow false project development records to be created and to launder unlawful projects through the Coastal Commission by using a few of the Commission's own employees. This practice must be stopped as it is causing injury. City planning officials and employees had no authority to send the project number for the address 17639 Ravello to, it's in Council District 11, to the Coastal Commission because the project had no building applications, no grading applications, no shoring applications, no retaining wall applications. Nothing was submitted to the City of Los Angeles that allowed it to be a legal project. The fact that the city held a public hearing in February 2015 and used public employees and public money for a non-existent project with no checklist for any correction sheet is a waste of public resources. I ask this process
Thank you
to
very
be
much.
stopped.
Next
Thank you.
speaker, Herman, followed by Michael Hunt.
The red Chief Hunt for the record.
Herman, are you speaking on public comment or not?
Brandenburg versus Ohio. For the record, Mr. City Attorney. Brandenburg versus Ohio, Mr. City Attorney. Brandenburg versus Ohio. First Amendment, protection of speech, and yet, under the Brown Act, we have a right to criticize, and it is your obligation to tolerate the Ninth Circuit's decision that the use of intensifiers is not unconstitutional. But to deliberately send the police to arrest and make us inmates of your jail system is really fucked up. Stop scaring us away from City Hall. Stop threatening me, Mr. Weezer, in the plum meetings, you asshole. Stop threatening me. I will make any statement that comes in my fucking crazy mind. And who's crazy? You, for threatening people. All in the city. What you did to Wayne Spindler is unconstitutional. And Englander, vote no.
You're done, Mr. Herman. Thank you very much. Next speaker, Mr. Hunt.
Madam President, for the record, on the card, it's the red Chief Hunt. That's just to waste some of my time. I'm going to tell all you motherfuckers like this. I hate that white motherfucker right there, the city attorney. He doesn't protect the law. That's my opinion. Wayne Spindler was protected by Brandenburg versus Ohio. That's a Supreme Court ruling. That's not a Ninth Circuit ruling. That's not a hate crime to draw a picture. That's his opinion. When you violate the law like Herb Wesson, then you get treated like shit. I can call him a nigger because I'm a nigger. That's not a hate crime. I'm just telling you the truth. When you follow the law, I don't have to call you a nigger. That T-shirt that I was wearing that said fuck white niggers too. It means it's niggas in all different races. Don't you be one of them. I won that Hunt versus the city of Los Angeles. And fuck that white nigga, that city attorney. Hunt versus the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. That concludes your time. Dr. Fabnego, are you here?
This is public comment on number three. The
You
reason
cannot,
is,
during public comment, you cannot speak on any of the items that have already been
then I'll
addressed.
speak in general then.
Thank you.
Okay, we need to look for issues of causality and deal with everything in a scientific manner. When you talk about the homeless, I'd like to see a database on the causality of homelessness. Many people have gone to the streets because of the change in how our hospitals and psychiatric centers work. We have closed the people out and thrown them out onto the street. And what has that produced? Approximately 1 in every 6 homeless persons will be a victim of a violent crime. Many of these people need medication. So giving them a home is not enough when they still need guidance and psychiatric help. And all the papers on this, I will be forwarding to you all the academic papers and statistical analysis which you need.
Thank you very much. That concludes public comment. Mr. Clerk, what's before us?
Madam President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
Posted and referred members, are there any announcements? Seeing none, can we all please rise for adjourning motions? To my left, are there any adjourning motions? Seeing none, anyone on Mr. Weezer?
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I have two adjourning motions. One is for Mike Woodward. He passed away this past weekend at the age of 66, and his wife of 37 years old, Lois, was at his side. With Mike's passing, the city has lost one of its greatest supporters of the urban forest. As a young man in Orange County, Mike was a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. This led him to serving as a psychiatric technician at various hospitals. Eventually, however, he would make a career out of his passion for trees, running his own tree care business. He took root in northeast Los Angeles and built his own house in Eagle Rock. Right below his house, literally across the one-lane street, was a strip of underused Edison property. Mike became involved in the successful effort to turn that property into a community garden. In the years since, he has been something of a godfather figure at the Eagle Rockdale Community Garden and Art Park. His email address was irritablegardener, but he was the opposite. He was incredibly generous with his time and labor, mentoring gardeners, picking up shoveling truckloads of compost and mulch, trimming the garden's trees, and much more. He fiercely fought back the poison oak, and offering the antidote to the poison, he would give people a bar of laundry to anyone who would help him deal with the oak. In addition to being an avid urban gardener, he served on the board of Northeast Trees. He was a founding member of Friends of the Loomis Home Garden, for which he was honored by the Historical Society of Southern California. He also helped build and maintain the hiking trail which leads up to the landmark of the neighborhood, the Eagle Rock. You can see why I appointed Mike to represent me on the city's Community Forest Advisory Committee. He did that for more than 5 years and provided valuable input to our Urban Forestry Division's best management practices and its program of tree protection during construction. Just a few days before he died, he told one of my staff how grateful he was for the opportunity to serve in the advisory committee. He said it gave him an appreciation of how hard it is to get anything done in the city. I think that may have been the student of philosophy in Mike who said that. We thank Mike for his many years of service, his humor, and his kindness. He was taken from us too soon, and we certainly will miss him for his many contributions to the urban forestry in the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. And secondly, colleagues, I'd like to adjourn in the memory of Dora Medavoy. Mrs. Medavoy was born on May 24, 1921 in Harbin, China. She was the youngest of 15 children, many of whom remained in Russia while her parents traveled to China. After her father's death in Harbin, they relocated to Shanghai, where she met her husband, Mike. They had 2 children. When communists took over China, they moved to Chile, where they lived for 10 years. Then in 1957, they relocated to the United States. It is here where she became involved in our local communities, and several members of the city family have asked that we adjourn in her memory. Dora Medavoy passed away at her home on May 19th with family surrounding her. She is survived by her children, Mike and Arena Medavoy and Veronica, Larry Dressler, 5 grandchildren, Brian Medavoy, Nick, Jennifer Dressler, and Derek Ashley, and 2 great-grandchildren, Leo and Alec. Condolences to her family and friends. She will be greatly missed. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Weezer. Mr. Price?
Madam President, today I rise to honor the life of Ms. Florence Orduna Hickerson. Florence was born August 16, 1921, to Pearl, Talbert, and Leroy Jones in Omaha, Nebraska. She married her high school sweetheart, Alonzo Kenneth Orduna, in 1938. Together they had 9 children, 5 girls and 4 boys. She was blessed with 24 grandchildren, including Elisa Orduna, Mayor Garcetti's homeless policy director, in addition to 50 great-grandchildren, 25 great-great-grandchildren. Ms. Orduna Hickerson was preceded in death by her husband, Alonzo Kenneth Orduna, and her second husband, George Hickerson, her daughter, Claudette, and sons, Alonzo and John. She passed away on May the 30th, 2016, at the age of 94, surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Her services will be held Saturday in Omaha, Nebraska. She will be greatly missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Any other adjourning motions? Mr. Harris-Dawson?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I ask our colleagues in the city to adjourn in the memory of Bryce DeJean Jones. He was born August 21st, 1992. Here in Los Angeles, California, he went to local schools, including Taft High School, where he was a standout boys varsity basketball team member. He averaged 16.9 points, 7.5 rebounds, 2 assists. I would note that he shot 56.8% from the field and 49% from the three-point line at Taft High School, and he was all-city and all-CIF. He started college at USC right here in South LA, where he averaged about 21 points a game. He then transferred to UNLV, where he was named Mountain West preseason co-newcomer of the year. He graduated from UNLV early with a bachelor's degree in sociology with a GPA of 3.7. He transferred to Iowa State for his final year of basketball eligibility because he could seek his master's degree while he was still playing in human development. He finished that degree. He did not make the initial NBA draft. He went to the developmental league. He eventually, just on January 21st of this year, finally got picked up by the New Orleans Pelicans and got signed to a 3-year contract, and was preparing for to play his first long-term stint of professional basketball, and was tragically killed in the most horrific and frightening form of gun violence, where he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the person thought he was someone that he wasn't. And so we will bury him tomorrow at First AME Church at 11 in the morning. It's a great loss for all of us, and a great loss about how we conduct ourselves and how we relate to each other.
Our sincere condolences to his family. Thank you very much for that. Any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, members, our meeting is adjourned. Have a great weekend.
LA City View, Channel 35.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.
You know, it is what it is, so, you know, but they're very sweet little kittens. So.
They're stunning. Mm-hmm. I think Black is stunning.